1.24-acre senior living campus on 3 parcels as it relates to the existing parcel number 3 of 136.43 acres. Subdivision of parcel 3 into 2 parcels of 10.51 acres and 125.92 acres, and a site plan for construction of a 69-bed assisted living facility on the new parcel, eliminating 29 future senior apartments to maintain a future campus total of 610 beds/units and modified site infrastructure. 382 Van Wagner Road, 965 Dutchess Turnpike, and 386 Van Wagner Road, R20, resident single family, 20,000 square feet. Type 1 action, Wartburg Lutheran Services, Inc. owner. On August 21st, 2014, the Planning Board received an application for this project, circulated its intent to be secret lead agency for its review. On December 18th of 14, the Planning Board opened and adjourned a public hearing and determined the application incomplete for seeker review and deferred action on it. The public hearing has been successfully adjourned since then without a substantive submittal, most recently to February 18, 2016. Staff recommends, and I move that the Planning Board adjourn the public hearing until further notice to be determined after submittal of additional projects. So instead of a date specific, we're going to adjourn the public hearing until further notice. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded that we adjourn the public hearing until further notice to be determined after submittal of additional project information. Okay. Public hearing number 2, Hyatt Hotel site plan hearing for a proposed 95-room, 4 stories.
We didn't vote, we didn't say.
We didn't vote? I thought we voted.
Second.
All right, let's vote. Aye.
Motion carried.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right.
It did carry, right?
Yes.
Oh, I voted.
That's all right.
Motion carries 5-0. Want to poll? We can poll the board?
Yeah.
All right. Number 2, public hearing, Hyatt Place Hotel, site plan hearing for proposed 95-room, 4-story, 60,578 square foot Hyatt Place Hotel with 98 parking spaces, South Road, US Route 9, and Sheaf Road, Zone BH Highway Business, 8.43 acres. Secret negative declaration adopted December 17, 2015. MVK Enterprises, Inc. owner, the Planning Board, and I move that we adjourn the site plan public hearing to March 17, 2016, which just happens to be St. Patrick's Day. I have a second. Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Application number 3, Page 1 Park, Texas Roadhouse site plan hearing for development of a 7,163 square foot restaurant and a 6,889 square foot retail store, 2323 South Road, Zone BH Highway Business District, 3.3 acres. Negative declaration adopted November 19, 2015. One Page Park, LLC owner. Hi.
Good evening. Kelly Leibolt with Page Park Associates.
Ken Casamento, LRC.
Since this is a public hearing, I just would like to take a few minutes, if I could, to go through the project. I know you've heard and seen this project many, many times, but I was just going to do a quick overview for you, and in case anyone from the public wants to see.
Were there any small changes of any sort since?
The parking was modified, yep. I'll be quick.
Sure.
Just for everyone's benefit, this was the zoning map of the site the way it appeared before the town rezoned it. We did receive the rezone approval from the town board last month. This was a picture of the site in 2008. It used to house a building which contained Schott Lithotek, which was a light manufacturing facility. We purchased the property in 2008 and did receive site plan approval from the town at that time for a medical office building and to keep the existing building in its place. Unfortunately, that project never came to fruition. So we're back before you 2015 to receive site plan approval for 2 buildings. The first building to the north of the site is a 6,889 square foot advanced auto building. And the second building to the south of the site is a 7,163 square foot Texas Roadhouse. Just as a refresher, 192 parking spaces. We are utilizing the existing curb cuts off of Anthony Drive, which if everyone recalls is a private road for access into the site. We are made the modification, Mr. Chairman, to the angled parking spaces in the front of the site. If you recall, previously those spaces were 90-degree and that was a one-way access in, and there was concern about the ability of cars when they backed out to ensure that they were going in the proper direction. So we went ahead with your board and your traffic consultant's recommendation and modified those so they're all angled parking spaces one way in. We also modified the parking spaces in the back of the buildings for one way as well. And the area in the front, just as a reminder, is where we're getting our stormwater credits with the porous pavement. The one-way aisles, just want to touch on the signage and the striping for that area because I know there were some questions regarding that. So we do have these arrows that are on the ground to try to direct people as they're moving along through the site that it is a one-way direction. We have the one-way signs on either ends just to assist people when they're coming through the site, and do not enter signs in case someone comes to the westerly entrance in the back of the site so that they know immediately that's a one-way, do not enter, and go to the back of the site for parking. Utility plan, because this was a nearly adaptive reuse of an existing building, the water and sewer are on site. So this would be the new water service. It was simply cut from the last building, so there would just be an extension of that water service and municipal sanitary service into the site as well. Landscaping, blue represents the new sidewalks. My apologies for my graphic design is not as great, as some of the other people that do this work. Sorry, let me go back. So blue is the sidewalks that we're proposing. We added some screening since you last saw this on the loading area in the back, 2 areas that it's a board-on-board fence just to enhance people when they're walking through so they're not looking at that back loading area and garbage receptacle area. There's 2, if you remember, landscaped waiting areas for Texas Roadhouse that are heavily landscaped with seats and seating walls and benches. Bicycle rack. And I just want to make sure that we don't lose sight. This is a request early on in the beginning of the this process is that we are proposing monument protection, Carl, for that monument. And it's a small wrought iron fence that will go around that just to protect that monument. So I just didn't want you to think that we had forgotten about that. But that is on the site plan, and there's the detail on the plan. Signage for the site, I think there were some questions regarding the signage. So first is the monument sign, which is proposed on the southerly part of the site, a monument sign that's 50 square feet, 2 sides, obviously, Texas Roadhouse on the top, Advanced Auto on the bottom, and the detail for that was on the site plan. The base of that would be a stone base monument sign. Advanced Auto is proposing an 88 square foot wall sign, which would be on the east side facing Route 9. Texas Roadhouse is proposing 2 signs. One is on the east side, which is a 98 square foot wall sign. And the second is on their southerly side, which is over the door. I know it's hard to see on this drawing. It's an 18 square foot sign that's over the door. They did receive a sign variance from the ZBA from that last month. And these are the renderings for the buildings. So the architects for Advanced Auto and the architect for Texas Roadhouse are both here this evening to go over their renderings and the architectural components of the building. And that's it. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those for you.
Questions from anybody on board? I think we're pretty familiar with it. Eric?
Sure. Liz Axelson, the consulting planner from Morris Associates, is not here this evening. You have a recommendation of staff and also from her recommending conditional site plan approval tonight. As you know, the planning board previously did a secret negative declaration, and the town board in January, and the town board did grant approval of the zone change to BH. The comments are listed. There are some concerns with that remain to be worked out. We recommend they can be handled with staff, having to do with the configuration of the parking spaces. Some of the angled ones should be a little bit wider. which may or may not result in the loss of a couple of spaces. Some truck access demonstrating how it will work. And a number of other smaller things, signage, some pavement markings. There's a number of things, but staff feels comfortable that they can be handled with the, as conditions of approval.
Okay.
And then if the board is inclined, they can proceed with architectural review.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. I hear a motion to reopen the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second, call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Did anyone sign up to speak at this public hearing? No? Okay. I don't see anyone out there. Okay, I move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Moved and second, we close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Questions for the board? Let me start with Ed.
Yeah. A couple of things. What's the hours of operation?
If I could, I'm going to defer to Dawn Shaffron. She's here from Texas Roadhouse, so she can answer. I had it before, but I'm not prepared. Do you remember what the hours of operation are?
Yeah, Monday through Friday, it's about 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock.
Monday through Friday, 4 to 10. They remember if they're dinner only during the weeknights.
And then Saturday and Sunday are approximately 11 to 10.
Saturday and Sunday, 11 to 10.
You do lunch on Saturdays and Sundays, right?
Yes.
Delivery-wise, when would deliveries be scheduled?
Deliveries occur overnight, and they will be done either first thing in the morning or right after business hours. Most of them come in the morning with fresh produce as well as the beer, the wine, et cetera.
Okay, thank you. I don't think that interferes with the auto store parking and any of that anyway, so.
Yeah, we got to talk, I'm sorry, you need to talk into the mic if you're going to say
Yeah,
more.
we'll have to bring her up.
Okay.
She also
Now,
mentioned,
that shouldn't interfere with the,
Yeah.
because it's early in the morning and it's,
I really-
restaurant's not open.
Concerned about, the next thing would be the hours of operation for the auto parts store. And delivery of,
Okay, just a minute. I know I had presented these before and I don't have them in front of me. I apologize. So okay. So this is Michelle Murphy with Advanced Auto. So
Hi,
she's the
Michelle.
operations manager.
The hours of operation would be 7:30 to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday, Sunday 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
okay, and deliveries?
Most of the deliveries are overnight.
Okay, so there wouldn't be any interference with the, in other words, it would be beyond 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah, normally they're in the morning, so between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. most of the deliveries in this corridor occur. So between our other
Okay,
Poughkeepsie
good.
site and
You
Wappinger
both
site.
use the same delivery entrance, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so I wouldn't want to, somebody's got to coordinate that.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's big enough to handle more than one truck, right?
I think that you have box trucks. Most of their deliveries are
Yeah,
box
'cause we get
trucks.
5 deliveries a week, so the deliveries are small.
Small trucks.
They're not as.
Which is why the loading dock was designed the way that
UPS
it was. Like a
any-
small box truck.
Right.
Yeah.
But do you do a lot of UPS, FedEx, and that kind of stuff
No.
as well?
No, it's their own proprietary trucks, but they're the size of a UPS truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Couple of things regarding lighting and landscaping. I'd like to see, well, first of all, let me take up landscaping. The entranceway coming into the site. Those first couple of parking spots, I worry a little bit about coming in here and this landscaping, this one coming out. If the landscaping is overgrown at all, you can't see it.
Okay, we can put lower some
Yeah, I know, but it's
landscaping
gotta
in
be
there.
maintained. That's always a problem.
Okay,
We can also look at lower growth plants that, during even mature heights will be much lower
Yeah.
as well in that area.
I hear you.
well, one of the alternatives that we can do is we can do some landscaping without putting plants there. So we could put some
Well, that's what I'm wondering,
stones or
if that
something
wouldn't
like
be the better
that
idea,
instead of putting
because-
plantings there.
Even up in the mall, what is it, corner of Spring Road and Route 9, coming out of there, that stuff is all
Yeah,
overgrown
the
now,
high,
and it's.
yeah, even
you-
Dunkin' Donuts, sometimes I
Yeah.
come out with the grasses, I know, we
Yeah,
all like
it might be
grasses.
better to, if everybody's in agreement, to consider some other kind of landscaping
Okay.
along
Okay,
there.
all right, we'll look at those.
Rich, would you?
Can we work that out with staff?
The other thing would be some lighting over the crosswalks up. How do I? Well, that truck entrance, that's an example.
Well, here, let me go back to the site plan.
Pointer?
This area here. I don't know if you got a lot of lighting in there.
I didn't bring the lighting plan, but we can look at it and see what we have on that, in that area, and for the loading dock. There is a light on the back of the buildings for the loading dock, so let me look and see how light that is.
And take a look at the crosswalks up in the back.
Okay.
Okay,
I know we do have lights in those at the end aisles, but we'll look at the one on the bottom as well.
And when I saw the photometric looked a little light,
okay.
so take a look at that if you would.
Got a pun?
And have you come to resolution with DOT on snow and?
Well, I guess the long arm of the law has told us what we have to do, not meaning you, meaning the state. So I spoke to actually Eric today. We already made the changes to the sidewalk in our drawing set, which goes back to the original sidewalk that we had down on Route 9. However, we're going to also keep the section of the sidewalk that brings you up to that crosswalk in the center of the site, so that people can get from the bus shelter up to the site, and into the site. There's actually two ways that they can get in. They can come around through the entrance, where the monument sign is.
Right.
I don't know why it keeps doing that. Or you can come up that sidewalk in a northerly direction and through the crosswalk that's in the center of the parking lot.
Now, is that a set of steps coming up?
No.
No.
It's ADA compliant
It's ADA
sidewalk.
compliant,
We
right.
worked to get that. Yeah.
So
that-
from the bus shelter up to the center there will be ADA compliant.
Okay.
So we'll show you the modified sidewalk. What we're gonna do is call Chuck Walter. He has actually been in touch with us on these new sidewalk regulations. We're gonna call Chuck, we'll go out, we'll walk the site with him and with someone from the town, make sure that it's in the exact location that they want it before we submit it to you for a signature. And we'll probably do that next week.
Okay.
But we've all spent more time on this sidewalk. It's just crazy.
Now, I know you've got a sign for no maintenance on the cars.
Yes.
It's very interesting. If I understand it correctly, when I go in to buy a pair of wiper blades or a battery or something, they offer to put it in, which I think is part of their business. And if we can keep it to that without doing oil changes and things like that, I don't have a problem. But once it starts to spill over, which I have seen in other places, then that's a problem.
One of Liz Axelson's comments was some modifications to the signage in that area, which, we'll agree to.
Yeah, good. I'm done.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Richard?
I don't know that I have an awful lot to add what Ed just said. I mean,
Thank you, Rich. Well,
I
that's
think he
good.
did a very good job.
Thank you.
My concern is the same as the last one Ed had, and I want the lady from Advanced Auto to raise her hand and say, there will be no repairs in the parking lot. Okay, we got it.
She's right here.
No, she raised her hand, okay. I'm good. Ben?
I think very well covered so far. I don't have anything to add.
Oh, I always got something to add.
Thank you, Carl.
I just
So,
want to say
moving along- oh.
be interesting to see how the porous pavement works out. But from the sidewalk perspective, I just want to, make sure when you go through the DOT that they're at least that 5-foot buffer from Route 9, so you feel comfortable walking there.
Well, it's
You
interesting
gotta try
that
not
you
to
raise
push it
that.
up right
Yeah.
on the highway.
The problem actually has to be with that monument that, is not gonna go, is not gonna move. So we're
yeah,
gonna have
that's
to
true.
work with
We'll
it
have to
around
work
that
with them.
monument. That's
Yeah,
gonna
there may be a little
problem.
compromise going past
Correct.
Right.
that
Yeah.
spot, but.
But other than
I mean,
that,
you
I
had
think
to,
we're
like
okay.
down BMW, you had to compromise around the fire
Yes.
hydrant.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
We
I
have a
think-
fire hydrant, we have some valve, existing
Some
water
things to work
services
around,
and stuff that
but I
we work around.
imagine if it's down on the road, you wind up with any steps going up to between the buildings?
No
then?
steps. Let me go, I don't know why my computer keeps changing this, but that sidewalk that goes, I don't have your wonderful pointer, but if you were at the bus
Well, I know,
shelter,
Right.
Move the planning
I
board.
mean, the bus, I mean, the one that goes up and
If
around.
you were in the bus shelter and you went north,
That's all I gotta say? That's
Yep,
we'll show them on that one, so then they see it.
So this walk here
yep.
will remain.
Oh, you're gonna
This
keep,
section will go away.
Right.
So you'll have one along the road
Well-
for the DOT, and this will remain, so that from the bus shelter, you can still come up.
And get into the site.
okay. But then well, I've been also concerned about getting, it wasn't just for the bus stop, it was also for the people coming from the hotel.
They'll be able to walk
Store-
down along Route 9.
Walk down along
Yeah.
Route
Yeah,
9. and-
there'll be a direct,
And-
from one point, the southerly to the northerly property line, there will be a sidewalk.
Correct.
And then there will also be a sidewalk that brings you up to the site.
Okay,
So assuming that Chuck Walter is in concurrence with what the board wants, which I think he will be, I mean, we don't have a choice, we have to do what he wants at this point.
I mean, isn't the one around the edge already ADA compliant?
It's there, but it's not ADA
No.
compliant.
Oh, okay. the
Correct,
one-
which is why we're doing the other one up to the center.
Because that seemed redundant there, okay.
Correct. That was
explains
my
it.
same question to Ken today, was eliminate all of them. I don't want to do any of them, you know, as far as bringing them up into the site, because the one is there, but it's not ADA
Yeah.
It's not
compliant.
ADA compliant.
Okay, it looks fairly mild, but I guess it doesn't meet the specs. I guess, only other thing then is thanks for the monument protection there, I think that'll be great. There's not too many of those Route 9 mile markers left.
Right.
So,
That's true. Good point. Thank you, Carl. Eric has one thing to add.
Yeah, just the board has the resolution of conditional site plan approval prepared by council and staff. In discussion this afternoon, that's, I believe it's 12 pages long. There was one issue that came up in discussion this afternoon with regard to landscaped buffering. And so we decided, just in the interest of completeness, to add one additional paragraph to that resolution of conditional site plan approval dated February 18th, 2016. With the board's permission, now I could read it as a recommendation to insert. Following on page 9, following number 10, we would insert a paragraph that reads, "The planning board finds that the landscaped buffers, as proposed and subject to conditions of site plan approval, are acceptable because they meet the intent of requirements of Chapter 210 zoning, including but not limited to those of Section 210-35 BH District, and also standards for site plan approval under 210-152, and the planning board thereby waives stricter requirements." With that, I'll leave it to the board's pleasure.
So what we did was we incorporated all of the
Whereas is,
conditions and stuff into the resolution, so I'm simply gonna make a motion that we,
Liz is as well, all of Liz's.
Yeah, where Liz had penned a separate, the items in Liz's recommendation are now incorporated into that resolution.
I had trouble with legal terms. Thank you.
so I move that the planning board adopt the resolution of conditional site plan approval dated February 18th, 2016, which is the document we just discussed that encompasses all that, plus any things that we talked about tonight.
yeah, as updated by Eric.
So I need a second.
Second,
Moved and seconded. Call the question. Those in favor?
aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We close it. Be prepared
Thank
for
you.
architectural
Yes.
review.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
But here's the-
On, not on?
There you go.
Okay, thanks, thank you. Good evening, my name is Don Petrancola with Liska McCormick Van Voorhis Architects. The Advance Auto Parts Retail Store is fairly simple, very clean, classic styling. This is 6-inch exposure, clapboard siding, pre-finished by James Hardy. This is a cementitious product. The bottom portion of the building is being done in a khaki brown wood grain finish. The upper parapet is a bit lighter in an autumn tan wood grain finish. These samples are here and here. The pilasters and trim on the building are going to be done in a composite product, painted in a Benjamin Moore white dove, which is, this is right, white dove right here. It's essentially white. The small parapet roof is being done in an asphalt fiberglass shingle. That is a GAF Timberline product. In timber, what is it called? I'm sorry. Weathered wood. So that is weathered wood right there. And the base of the stone is a cultured stone product by El Dorado. It is a limestone pattern in a New Haven product with a tan mortar. This is the product sample right here.
Okay.
So, there's it, there. And these are all here for you, labeled for
So
the
if you
product.
bring enough of that in, you can build a building.
Yeah.
So I assume the parapet is high enough to shield any HVAC stuff, is that how that works?
The HVAC, the building is, I'm sorry, the building is 83 feet square. There are two RTU units on the roof. They will project approximately 24 inches above the high parapet, but they're in the center of the building. So it's really going to be a sight line kind of a thing.
Yep, from down on the road you won't.
Route 9 can be a little higher from the north, so we're currently looking at the screening, that they will be screened with a lightweight screening material so that you're not looking directly at a mechanical unit.
Okay, so it's a separate architect for Texas Roadhouse, so we'll switch gears. Do you have any other questions for Don?
Yeah, the only thing I should ask before, is there any, like a shielding that so people don't go running into that? You know, the parking spots come right up to it, right? Well, not quite. There's a sidewalk. Yeah, but there's, I guess there's enough room.
Here, in the front,
Yeah,
there's sidewalk and then there's landscaping.
right.
It's-
Is there a curb also?
Yes.
Okay, there is a curb.
Yep.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay, so anyone else for Don for advanced?
Mike, Ed, pull your mic down when you're talking.
Bueller?
Sandy's having,
Okay. Dawn, do you want to do Texas Roadhouse then?
Hi, I'm Dawn Shaffron. I'm with Greenberg Faro Architecture. Here talking about the Texas Roadhouse, also a very simple architecture features that we have on this elevations. We're upgraded on all four sides. We've got four primary materials. We've got the brick for the base, as well as the cedar, as well as the Galvalume roof and CMU for our dumpster enclosure. Our dumpster enclosure is completely solid. It's an opaque finish as well as a gate, so you cannot see any of those items. Our brick, I can get into the details of. Our cedar is a pre-stained cedar by Henry Poor Lumber. And then we also have the brick veneer, which is by Claymax, which is Old Denver, and that is also like a red-ish color. And then we've got the Galvalume roof, which is a gray.
And this, if I'll just show them what the changes. If you recall, one of the planner's comments was this rear elevation, that this needed to be improved. And what Texas Roadhouse did, just so you know the difference between last month and this month, is add this metal roof across the back, and then this brick treatment wasn't there as well, so they added that in the back, so it reflects the other three sides of the
so
building.
it's basically finished, they finished the back of the building
Correct.
too? Okay.
Yes.
That's good.
We also did quite a bit of landscaping too, that was good.
There's a lot of landscaping. There's a lot of benches, seating areas. There's brick seating areas. Yeah, it's going to be nice from that side.
Good.
Kelly, are those changes shown in the elevations that were provided in
Correct,
advance to the
yes.
planning board? They are in that?
Correct.
Okay.
That you have the same set.
Thank you.
And then we'll leave all these materials in case you guys have any
From what
other.
you've shown, it looks a lot nicer than what I saw in Kingston, from a landscaping perspective.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
pretty
think-
stark, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just like a parking lot. and-
Yeah, it is.
Sorry. I'm sure it's a nice site.
It is.
Ours is going to be nicer.
It's nicer.
Blunt honesty, right? Yeah.
I've never been one to sugarcoat things.
Okay. Move that we accept the architecture as presented for both. You got more?
Second.
Oh, second, for both Advanced Auto Parts and the Texas Roadhouse. You got a second for the question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. Let's get the steak sizzling. Okay. Speaking of food. Public hearing number 4, Popeyes Restaurant, 535 Haight Avenue, site plan hearing regarding a proposed Popeyes restaurant at the former Nellie Kelly's Restaurant, which is the former some chicken place.
Boston Market.
Boston Chicken, no. Boston Market, Woodstock Chicken.
Woodstock Chicken.
Woodstock Chicken.
Well, it was Boston Market originally.
Well, there's a couple chicken places, all right. And that's why they crossed the road to get to 535 Haight Avenue, zoned ATC Arlington Town Center and Main Street. Drive-in only, drive-in overlay district, MSDOD, 0.5 acres, secret negative deck adopted December 17, 2015, Sorokas and Vanikiotis owners.
Would never want anybody else to forget. Check the name.
Okay. Hi.
Good evening. Eric Nyler with Tinkelman Architecture. Where would you like to start? Should we go through where the design is now?
Well, we're pretty familiar with the project and everything.
Yeah.
Let's talk about anything that's changed since the last time you were here, or anything you
Okay.
were required to do since that. So we got a pretty full agenda tonight.
Yeah, basic difference is that we've fleshed out the submittal. We're working in conjunction with another architect who's in charge of the appearance of the building. And our last submittal includes an image of the building. We have colors of all the materials. We've developed a landscaping plan, and I think we've responded to the various comment letters in terms of fine tuning of the design, the drive-through and such. We just got a comment letter a couple of days ago, some additional, or what I believe are some additional minor comments about striping and signage, and we'll, of course, work through all those things with Eric and Neil. I'm thinking maybe a striping and signage plan would be useful. There's a lot of information on this drawing. I think some of it was just the graphics maybe didn't come through to somebody who wasn't sitting there with me. So I think we're going to add another drawing that will clarify what we're proposing for some of those details. We've also managed to massage the photometrics. I think last time around we were over by 0.1 foot candle along the east side. We've been able to bring that down, so we're completely in compliance with the light spill requirements right now.
Okay, good. Thank you. Eric?
Sure. Let's see, tonight, we are recommending that the board grant conditional site plan approval. Of course, after, well, assuming that the public hearing goes well, which should be opened and closed. Did you want to hold the public hearing first, or do you want me to go ahead?
Well, since you started on it,
Okay,
you have
sure.
a lot, so we'll do it.
Yeah, I don't have very much. We only had a few comments from the last time around. I've elaborated on those. Some of them have been handled. A couple remain as minor details that staff believe can be worked out after the meeting by conditions of approval. I do note that the Dutchess County Department of Planning responded just this afternoon with a general municipal law referral response. In indicating a local concern with comments similar to the comments they've had in the past. So the planning board may act, if they choose to act on an approval, they would only require a simple majority and not a supermajority. I think that's it. We have a couple comments. There was also a letter from an adjacent resident, which is in your packets. And we've added to our recommendations the inclusion of a.
Can't hear you, you're speaking to microphone.
I'll speak louder. Also, we're recommending, for the benefit of the neighbor, a 6-foot privacy fence and additional landscaping along that side. And a couple of additional details to clarify lighting, landscaping, and a couple of other minor things, and that I'll leave it to the traffic consultant to respond to what the applicant's done with the traffic alignment, but I would agree that it seems it could be worked out as conditions of approval.
Thank you. I move we open the public hearing.
Second?
Moved and second, call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Anyone in the audience wish to comment on this application for Popeyes? Must be restaurant night. Hearing no one, I will move, we close the public hearing.
Second?
Moved and seconded, call the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Let's go around the board. Rich, anything?
It's a tough site, and I think you've done as absolutely well as we can do with it. And, I don't really have anything to add.
Okay, I think it's nice that we got a site that
Yeah,
is challenged and is going to be used and reused for another purpose, and it's not just going to sit there and look like a vacant, yucky building. So I think that'll be good. And also, we do have a letter from next door, and we need to put something about fencing on the, is that in your record? It's in there, okay, so we're covered with that. Ben?
As long as everything's met that's concerning this neighbor, Dr. Marin, and he talked about the fencing and the lighting, and also smoking outside from, people go outside to smoke, you know.
Well, I think I spoke to, he's a dentist, I guess Dr. Marin, before he wrote that letter. I actually recommended that he write that letter because he expressed a concern about smokers, I think, from the last restaurant would walk over towards his property.
Yeah.
And I suggested that he put his concerns into a letter form so it was could be memorialized. I think that our landscaping in that area is so dense that that's not going to be possible anyway, but the addition of the fence seems like a good additional measure.
Plus, his concern was when it was Nellie Kelly's, it was a bar, and late
Yeah.
hours, and they go out.
Right.
This is
Right.
not late hours, and it's not a bar, and there's no drinking. So I think that, part of that
That's-
concern goes away.
yes.
I wonder if there's something going to be worked out for a signage about, this is private property, no smoking in this area. Maybe they could work out something.
Sure, maybe we could put a sign on that fence.
That's right.
But again, I think it's going to be tough for people to actually wade through the planning to get over there, but why not, a
Well,
fence,
I'm saying
a
a
sign's pretty
placard
easy to
sign
do.
that you
Yeah.
could put in the ground or something that
Yeah.
might be of help. You might be, talk to the good doctor and see if you can't come to some resolution on that.
Okay, good idea.
Thank you.
Okay?
Carl?
Yeah, I mean, you guys talked about most of the issues. It was a bar before, so this is going to be a much more compatible use with the neighboring house and Dennis, because it went to late night things, and most of the customers are drive through and eating inside, so I don't even imagine there'd be a lot of smoking going on, but
I think that's true.
good to have a
yeah.
sign as well.
Yeah, address it.
Just just want to make sure that fence goes far enough to cover the house, maybe up to that big tree.
Agreed, yeah, we'd
Something
probably,
like
I agree, we'd probably run the fence until either that tree, or I can't remember exactly where that tree is, or where the hemlocks start, one of those points so you get
The tree is kind of right there where
Sense
it
of
cuts off,
closure.
and then the hemlocks start after that, so. But also you may want to talk to him about, any kind of walking path through. I don't know if you want to close it off completely, so somebody that's renting the house might want to go to Popeyes, so.
yeah, we'll take a look at that
Driving all the way
and see if there's some modification to the layout that would that would help that, or?
I mean, there's like a crunch down fence and things there now, but so there is a walkway through next to that big tree at the moment, but
Is that?
just
but
want to
is-
make sure there's not, you're not closing off all access issues with however far the fence is going to
Okay,
go.
all right, we'll look at where the right place to end it. I'll talk to Eric.
And that
about
may
it.
be, he may say, no, I don't want any access at all, but I think logically there should be some. And that fence will shield the lighting. The sidewalk that the county recommends, I think that would take out the tree line. We don't want that. It is a tough step. I mean, county did mention diagonal parking, which you have implemented, and I believe that will work out great. The only other question I have is hours of operation, as far as noise issues. Do you know that?
I have to get that from, I have it in my notes, but I don't have it at my fingertips.
I'm just wondering if it's a 24-hour
No, it's not.
or not.
No.
Okay, that's good at least. And
Carl,
last-
I will note that the outdoor seating area is subject to the hours required by the outdoor dining section of the code, which, actually, one of our conditions is to ensure that those are addressed sufficiently on the plan. I can't recall the exact time, I think it's 10 PM, but whatever it is in the
Yeah.
code, that would apply to that outdoor area, which is likely to be the source of noise in the area.
Right, okay, that makes sense here.
Well, you'd also need to know the hours of operation for the window versus the restaurant. I don't know if there's going to be any difference there.
Is there a difference?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess
Should be.
I was more concerned if it was late into the night, 2 AM or something.
No, they don't stay-
Traffic coming through there, picking up stuff.
They don't stay open anywhere.
Your neighbors.
They don't stay open anywhere nearly that late. The drive-through window, to my knowledge, is open all the time that the restaurant is open, though, if that was a question.
Right.
Staff did also, in the recommendation, suggest that recommend that the outdoor speakers for the queuing, for the drive-through, be equipped with volume controls.
Okay.
And that that the volume of those speakers comply with unreasonable noise standards.
That can be adjusted if something
Correct.
gets too loud.
Or later, sometimes they be
Or even,
louder during the day and quieter at night.
right, ambient noise goes down at night. And lastly, it is close to the residents, so I don't know if there's an odor issue, if there's some kind of filter that can be put on the cookie.
They'll have all the required filters on their HVAC system, their exhaust. You know, they have grease to deal with, so there's always filters on their hoods.
Great, thanks.
Thanks, Carl. Anything else? Okay, I move the planning board, we grant, I make a motion, we grant conditional site plan approval for the Popeyes Restaurant, 535 Haight Avenue. Site plan subject to the following, and it was 1 through 10. And 1 through 9, and 10 being architectural review, which we'll do afterward.
And all the comments we had tonight.
And all the comments as, thank you, Carl. Call the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Rich was a second. You prepared to do architecture?
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of different faces.
Cool. You're killing.
So the basic palette of the building is synthetic stucco and a synthetic stone base with accented metal canopies, accents of metal canopies, and the sort of fringe of the French Quarter shutters and railing systems that actually persist around the other sides. And there's a couple of other little detail colors. Please ignore this sign on the side. We're going to be submitting fully compliant signage when the time comes, which will be shortly. We got a variance for 2 monument signs, but all the signs that we're proposing meet the size and the other zoning guidelines. So just ignore that one. But this is the color palette, starting with the stone. This is it's a Boral Versetta stone is the product for the base, and then there's just these are the colors and the texture of the stucco, which is the bulk of the building. Screen color on the window frames, the lights, in the window frames. And doors and window, I'm sorry, I take that back. Doors and windows are this brown, the shutters and balconies and some decorative light fixtures are the green. And then this is the canopy, and the base color of the building is this sort of warm, orangey, sandy color.
You can put up, just put the picture up, just so you can, there's a before and after. A little better.
Much better.
Yeah, okay.
Looks like right out of San Jose. Looks good.
Yeah, that's the way they've done.
I like it.
I think it looked the same down in Florida, too, the same colors. Tom, okay.
There's one, these are similar, I mean, that's the side facing Hyde Avenue. What's the side that where most people are coming in from look like? Is there a?
Well, this is, that's the Hyde Avenue side here.
Eric, can you take the microphone?
Right, I mean, everybody's parking in the lot there, and then they're walking in front. I was just curious how it looks on the drive-through side or the.
Yeah, their elevations are not colored, but the appearance is pretty consistent all the way around the building. I mean, the stone wraps around. This is actually the back side that faces Main Street, although it's pretty far away. But that's their walk-in. But we've wrapped the stone base all the way around. Here's the drive-through side. And here's the side entry that was asked for on it's on the east side of the building.
Right.
So it's a pretty consistent look. All sides of the building have been respected and made presentable, if you will.
Eric, does this copy the elevations, excuse me, identify the materials?
Yes, they have.
Because the one that the board got does not.
Okay, I take it back. I think they have a chart here, but we'll clear that up with them and make sure that the next submittal, we call out the names on per that sample board on the black and white elevations. I guess what I'm assuming we're going to do is a final submittal, picking up all the comments, and we'll add that to the list of mods.
Maybe not, depends on what's going on.
And did you address the screening of HVAC and roof equipment?
I'm going to have to coordinate that with Taos Associates, the designers of the building. I know that we need to do that, so I just got to get their mechanical specs, see how tall the units are. If we have to adjust the parapet height to do that, we'll make sure that happens. And I think what we'll do is, so it's clear on the next submittal, we'll have them dot the equipment in on the elevations, and you can see that they don't stick up above it, because I think we're probably close enough to the street that you potentially could have a sightline issue with a short building and sharp angle of view.
Mr. Chairman, those two topics were in the conditions from December, and we had moved them in tonight's recommendation to the architectural approval section for your benefit, because we thought that they might be addressed. So they're incorporated as recommended conditions of architectural.
Good, covered. Right?
Not yet?
Okay, any other questions?
I have one.
Sure.
Eric, I noticed some of the places in town with drive-throughs have a height limit bar for trucks. I guess they don't want big trucks going around through the drive-through. Is there anything like that?
Yes,
Here?
we're gonna be adding one of those. I just got Popeye's own corporate comments on the submittal, and that's something that they asked for. I didn't see it in their template set, but we'll add it to what we're doing.
Good.
Good catch, yes. Keeps trucks from going where they shouldn't. Keeps the trucks from going where they shouldn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a canopy over where you order, so it'd be good to,
Yeah, that
before
too.
somebody destroys it, to
Yep.
hit the,
Each order becomes
Okay.
expensive.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay. So I move we accept the architecture as presented and the materials as presented.
Subject to? Subject.
Well, subject to the conditions, can I read all? Sure.
Just, you can do just one through, that one, just 1 and 2.
Subject to clarifying the location of the roof-mounted equipment and how it will be screened. And number 2, identify the materials to be used on elevations and renderings. These are the two things it's subject to, discussed.
Second.
Eric, is that higher than a usual, the banks where you go into an ATM? exterior. I'm thinking about, I've seen a case where people with a car with bicycles on top
Right.
took out the bicycles.
It's, I don't remember I think it's a 9-foot height limitation on this, bank. Yeah, it could
It's
vary.
just something to
but,
look at,
yeah.
that, you better make sure that somebody coming through with the bikes on
Well, the
top.
bar out front will stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what happened.
Yeah, I hear you.
Bikes wound up in the parking lot, in the bicycle rack, though.
Not pretty. Not pretty.
We have one of those now.
That was a good
so.
idea.
Yep, that's
Thank
Okay,
you.
so we got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second to call the question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, appreciate it.
Go forth and fry chicken. We got steak and chicken tonight. What's next here? Okay.
Go forth and fry chicken.
All right. Public hearing number 5, Spinbowl Outdoor Recreation. Public hearing for proposed outdoor seasonal recreational facilities, go-kart track, ropes course, and outdoor dining. 47 Taft Avenue, Zone BH Business Highway, 4.251 acres. Unlisted action, Diamond Properties owner. Is the applicant here? Yes, okay.
I'm into the wrong one.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Mirando. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Cuddy and Fader, and I'm here on behalf of Diamond Properties this evening. Bill Diamond from Diamond Properties is joining me, as well as Sam Gardner, the architect on the project. I'm just going to give you a quick overview and a little update on where we've been. Also, I should point out that Neil Alexander has been handling this matter. I am covering for him tonight as he had a conflict, so I will do my best. The background on this is that, and we haven't been here for a couple months. I think it was in November the last time we were here, where the board started the seeker process. Since that point, there's been obviously the discussion with the town board with respect to zoning amendments, which we know have been now adjourned. Moving forward with this application here this evening, we recently received a memo from the town, fairly detailed with an extensive amount of comments in it, some detailed, some bigger. We're not going to go through all those tonight because we didn't really have an opportunity to do that yet. So our hope this evening is to discuss the project in the big picture with the board, to present the site plan, because I know it is a public hearing, to give the public an opportunity to hear the project, hear from the applicant, and hopefully by the end of the evening, get a perspective from the board as to where we think the application is going and what it is are the highlights that from both the board's perspective and the applicant's perspective. So at this point, I know from a seeker standpoint, the board has been declared itself lead agency. We have pretty much, that's been the only step handled thus far. I know that going forward, we'll have some information to provide to move the seeker process forward, which again, we can talk about. After this evening, our hope is that we'll be able to sit down with town staff and go through these comments to make sure that we're all on the same page with them. So I'm going to hand it over to Bill.
That would be my hope also, because we got a lot of open switches here, so we're not going to approve anything tonight.
We understand.
Okay, but it's a good idea, once we get done, to sit down with staff and go over the comments that were made by the public, if some people that did sign up for the public hearing and the board. So that's good.
Great.
Right on.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm going to hand it off to Bill right now to talk a little bit big picture and also update you a little bit on what they've been working on with the town in the last month or so.
Sure. So I'll start just kind of from 20,000 feet. As everyone knows, that we've done some pretty extensive renovation on the inside of the facility. We're not entirely done on the inside. We're probably about 80%, 90% of the way there. I think everyone could see and probably appreciate the attention to detail and the level we're bringing things up on the inside, and that's kind of the way we always do things. We really don't know how to do things any other way. It's kind of in our DNA. So that concept, that look that we're bringing on the inside, as we look at the outdoor activities that we want to add, that's the same. Everything we do would have that same upscale look. And The reason why we're really trying to do something on the outside is, I don't know how familiar everyone is with this sort of bowling-centric entertainment business, but we're busy from October to April, May, and then it really, depending on the weather, becomes a ghost town for the rest of the summer. So we're busy, 6 months out of the year, and then the traffic dramatically drops off. And so what we've learned in the past as we've done these is how do we turn this into a real viable 12-month-a-year business? It doesn't mean that, we're going to have 5 times as many people there, because when we're busy in the winter, there's no outdoor activities, and then at the end of the winter season, when the parking lot is empty, okay, what do we do with this facility where you could literally land an airplane on the inside? So that's the goal here as we look at this, to sort of round out, make a more consistent 12-month-a-year business, which is great for employment. We get to bring more people on staff. We've already brought a bunch of additional people on staff from where the bowling alley was before, and we recently did a test on the outdoors of the facility where we brought up some go-karts, and I think. I think the general impression was this is generally not a very loud activity. In fact, the passing cars were a multitude louder than the go-karts themselves. These things run pretty quiet. So our goal, we would never get involved in something like this if we thought we were going to create an eyesore or a nuisance to the neighbor. That's not how we operate as an entity. That's not our DNA. Our feeling is that we could do something like this and actually have it be an improvement to the area and really, create something that's great for the community. And I'll turn it over to our architect, Sam.
Okay. Sam Gardner with Greg Wiesen Gardner Architects.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
Nothing.
Is this working?
Yeah, you got the mic.
Good. I wanted to walk you through the site plan. Just wanted to point out that these are seasonal outdoor activities. The go-kart track actually gets demounted, taken apart at the end of the season. It's a barrier system. It's not an actual, you build it into the ground. These are movable barriers that are water-filled. I think we presented this at an earlier presentation. They get stacked up and moved to the corner of the site, or they get moved off-site and stored until the next season. The ropes course is a permanent structure. This is the company that actually makes them. They're essentially posts that are set in concrete with footings and then they're bolted together. That is located here at the site. So essentially what we did was we took the least used portion of this existing parking lot, surface parking lot, and we're going to lay out the go-karts, and then we're going to permanently install this ropes course. You should know that and Bill can speak more to the ropes course, but this isn't people sort of hanging off ropes. They're actually strapped in to harnesses, and it's like a guided path on ropes on I don't know. There's other like beams and things that elements that they walk on. It's not like zip lines that you see in on YouTube. It's really safe. It's almost pretend, kind of that extreme, more extreme type of use. It's a lot of fun though. So in response to that, we knew we had to try to make the site perform better. Part of it was how we handled the traffic, the cars coming in. And this was discussed with staff, actually, some of these ideas. So these spaces over here, they're still there, but they're now under this track.
because the current surface parking lot goes right to the edge of the property. It goes from here to here to here to the front of the building. So, you know, we are gonna propose signage to make the traffic flow a little more obvious and safe and clear. Those spaces that are along the track, we're gonna put wheel stops so that there's no chance that people could jump and somehow drive into the go-karts. We've fenced in a little waiting area, which is essentially the way you get up onto the ropes course.
Do you want me to hold that for you, sir?
It's a set of stairs. So you get strapped into your harness at the bottom of this thing, and now you are guided up a set of stairs, and now you're sort of let free to wander in the course up in the air on the elements. The height of this thing at the most is 36 feet.
When you say wander, can you have somebody pass each other if some kid wants to turn around and go back?
It's a good question. There's actually different pathways.
Okay.
In other words, different elements of different, say, complexity or skill level. And there's areas you could go left, right, forward. So you could go left, someone behind you could go right, or you could go right, someone
I
behind you could
assume
go
the
left.
person that's in front can't turn around and go back.
Well, if no one's behind you, you could turn around and go back and then go a different direction.
But if somebody is behind you,
Yeah, you'd have to keep going forward, yeah.
Right.
It's,
I assume with the latching of ropes, you can't turn around because you got unlatched it.
no, it's actually, well, it's just a channel. So your rope, your harness that you're in is in a channel. Imagine if this is the beam and where the frame for the drop ceiling is a channel, and then at each of these, you could go left or right or whatever.
That
It's
part
just-
I understand. It's just that if there's somebody else right behind you,
It's like being in a one-way corridor. You can't,
Yes, that's
someone's behind you. You gotta
That's
keep
fine. I
going
don't have a
until you can
problem
make a
with
left or a
that.
right. Exactly correct.
yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So other elements of the site that came up when we were talking with staff was trying to anticipate maybe diminishing the sound of the go-karts to the edges of the property. And at that time, we had identified some areas that seemed to make sense to do that. And we were proposing some fences from the sort of the back corner of the overhead door company along this property line. It was to end there because this is actually a commercial user. These are residential users. We were aware that there was a potential, let's call it sound, wind alley along the side of our building to the property owners here, the residential property owners. So we put a fence in that gap. It has a door in it because I also have to maintain it as a fire exit path. We were also proposing an outdoor eating area up against the building, also seasonal, not permanent. And it's really where the restaurant lounge is currently, so it's just outside of that, and it's easily accessible from the kitchen. And there was a suggestion that we, instead of doing just very movable fencing, that we should do boxed planters with some fencing between them to make it a little more robust in case a car should somehow.
Yeah, we were talking ballards.
Say again?
We were talking ballards.
Bollards,
Right.
not just planters, but bollards.
Bollards in the ground.
Concrete bollards, something to stop a car.
Well, we could do that.
We could do that. There isn't.
That doesn't become movable, though.
The planters?
The
No,
ball.
the ball.
Bollards are permanent.
We
Permanent?
could do that. The only issue was there was an easement, I think, there that for a power company or something. That's why we thought maybe.
There's an
that-
easement here, yeah.
Well, The first thing that's always gonna come up to us is the safety of the people there and the car coming in. Now, if somebody comes in and they lose control,
We do
Flower
that,
boxes.
all the outdoor seating areas.
Well, these aren't flower boxes. These are, tall, filled, sand-filled, gravel-filled at the bottom. They were meant to be more robust than
well,
a.
you're
than
gonna
a-
have to show
a flower
us that
pot.
that's enough to stop a car.
Oh, look, if it was a ballard, we don't care. I mean, we can put,
We can put a ballard. We'd have to look into the.
So,
the
Just take a look at
issues
that.
of the
I-
easement.
Ballard, or maybe you wanna put up a guardrail of some sort.
Sure.
It's just that, the bollards are permanent, so you gotta take into account when that seasonal room is out.
That's
You know,
correct.
That's, unless you have the kind that retract into the ground, but that's a little more expensive,
Yeah.
so.
As well as by the go-kart area too, I think. Something to keep cars out of there, more than the water barriers that you
We
said.
were doing the
That's good for the
planter
go-karts.
barriers there because the only place that people congregate is sort of at the bottom of that stairs I was describing. Kids and parents sending them off will stand there and then they go up. By the way, all these activities are handled by staff. This isn't passive.
I'm sorry, but the issue again is, can a car come over that rise? And again, it was mentioned that either ballards or some kind of a stopping device was suggested. You gotta take a look at that.
Accelerator gets stuck.
Yeah, we had this issue with the one on Route 9 and never got built, but that was a concern. We wanted bollards and we wanted something that said if a car got out of control, that was gonna protect the people that were sitting there. So it's,
we could put ballards in
I
front
think
of the food area.
It might be easier just to put a guardrail in. I don't know. You just gotta take a look at that.
Yeah.
Something.
Wood or metal.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's just one, it's another one of our checklist items to certainly look into.
good.
Yeah. Okay. And
And my suggestion to you would be, if that's gonna be a parking area for the winter, when you got all the people who wanna bowl, you do something that says you can come in and out at one end and out the other, or something like that for parking. If you're
Well-
gonna move all of that stuff out.
we do propose that. You mean in this area behind?
Yeah, I'm assuming if the bowling business gets big enough in the winter and you need that for parking, and make sure you've left yourself an easement to get in and out.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, that summarizes the major pieces
Okay.
of.
We got some work to do with, and we're gonna have some more comments as we go along, for sure. All right. How about we open a public hearing? Move we open a public hearing. Moved in second, we open a public hearing, call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I have 4 people that have signed up to speak at the public hearing. The first person is Jane Whitman. You have to give Jane a microphone if someone would.
We'll sit in the.
Whatever happened to our
Yeah,
I don't know.
they sold
freight cost?
Good evening. I'm glad that I'm here and that I've heard this. It does sound very good. But I am Jane Whitman, and I own the property at 33 Arlington Avenue, where we have run an electrical contracting company since 1975. I recognize the need for new business and economic development, but I am concerned about the type of business proposed at this bowling alley site and the influence it'll have on the area, because it could be key to the redevelopment at this area that this area is currently experiencing, which has been, I think, very positive. Understanding that this has been classified as business highway district, it is also primarily residential. I don't sleep there at night. I go home at 5 o'clock. I don't feel that the proposed go-kart track would accomplish the need for the enhancement of this area. My personal experience with similar operations indicates that the noise level would certainly exceed 200 feet. And listening to this, I see other concerns too. The go-karts alone will contribute to the volume of noise, but combined with outside food and beverage, presumably alcohol service, the potential could be extreme for noise in that area. Many times over the years, as the bowling alley alone, I've also seen the parking lot at capacity, which indicates a lack of sufficient parking for this proposal. There are also 2 elementary schools nearby. The sound is going to travel. The schools don't have air conditioning. The windows will have to be open in May and June, September and October many times. The planning department, by code, is interested in hearing the opinions of those in the surrounding area. I feel that a further reaching study of the owners and residents of the surrounding properties should be conducted. Thank you.
Thank you. Good comment. Eric Neeler, did I say that right? Yes, I did.
Close enough. I'm here tonight representing a concerned property owner. As many of you probably know, we're well underway with construction of our Springside project, which is within eyesight of this project. We've gone to great efforts to make our project transformational for the neighborhood, to the benefit of the neighborhood and to the community at large. And as stakeholders, we're extremely concerned about this project and its impact on this area that we've all invested so much in so many ways. It's understood that many eyes are on this project, and reading the county comment letter, for example, as well as some of the other department comments, we certainly appreciate that the review process is thorough and it's an ongoing thing. But I would like to offer up a couple of questions that came to my mind when I was reading through the documents today. Just a brief list, and I don't pretend that these aren't, to some extent, already covered in your own look over. One is I'd like some more detail on why it's necessarily a permitted use. The definition of outdoor recreation facility in the zoning is a bit vague, which is maybe a good thing, but it says a place designed and equipped for the conduct of sports, leisure time activities, and other customary and usual recreational activities out of doors and including recreational clubs. So I guess you could stretch that to fit a lot of different things, but a go-kart track doesn't immediately spring to my mind when I read that. The BH permitted use example for an outdoor recreation area is even less inspiring in terms of confidence that it's permitted. It says outdoor recreation including miniature golf courses, archery ranges, driving ranges, and skating rinks. I don't see anything listed there that indicates motorized vehicles and such. Couple other thoughts. One, what are the hours of operation? Maybe I missed that. A vinyl fence, which is what I understood was being put up, does not to me seem like a reasonable sound barrier, unless it's extremely high, which I wouldn't imagine the zoning would permit. So I'd like to know more about that. Light levels are mentioned in some of the other comments we saw. I think just suggest or add to that it isn't just light spill around the edge of the property, but the intensity of the light on the property, that can be as big a problem. We've run into that in our own projects with, for example, light underneath a canopy at a drive-through. It's well within the property boundaries, but it's a nuisance because it's too bright for the area. The outdoor bar contribution of the noise level that the lady prior to me spoke of, I think that's something certainly to be looked at. Are there any speakers, horns, et cetera, associated with the track? The parking calculation doesn't seem to be broken down by use. If it isn't just the bowling alley, there's a restaurant use attached to that. We need to see, I think, how many spaces you need for all those uses that go into the entire project. And has anybody visited an operation like this rather than 2 cars tested, understood, but is that the number of cars that are going to be on the track when it's operating? So I think it really bears a lot of scrutiny as it goes somewhere, or let's see another example of this and go look at it, or have the ability to go look at it and see, would you want one next to your house? And I'm not saying that the answer wouldn't be, yeah, it's fine, but I think we really got to ask that question on that level. Looking through the town ordinance regarding noise, the definition of it, the factors are listed, and I won't bore anybody with those, but one thing I noticed is that unlawful noises include recreational vehicles. The operation of any, but it does go on to say the operation of any recreational vehicle off a public highway is not going to exceed 92 decibels, which grant you, is fairly loud, but I think this whole project needs a lot more specificity about what those noise levels specifically are, measured at the property boundaries, with the actual number of vehicles in use, not just a couple driving around the park. And I know that everybody's understanding that, and don't pretend to lecture here, but also engines in general are considered an unlawful noise. So just food for thought. Sure. Thank you.
Someone named Rita, no last name? Your last name, please?
Curtis.
Thank you.
My name is Rita Curtis. I am an adjoining property owner, and all of the comments that the other two people before me made were very good, but nobody has mentioned the rope course. That is another great concern. The owners said that they were going to, they wanted to use the property from April until September. That's lovely. They want to use the property from April to September when it's nice outside. That is precisely when the homeowners also want to use their property. So the fences that they have proposed are for the go-karts. I think that the go-karts will be too noisy. I think that there are going to be people screaming. Nobody has mentioned the ropes that are going to be 36 feet up in the air. How are they going to stop that noise? That's going to be a permanent feature. They said that that's not going to be something that's going to come down. So what about the noise levels from that? What about the aesthetics from that? I also, as an adjoining property owner, hear people that are walking through the woods in the back, because I live in the back portion, that have been drinking. There is a bar there. There's going to be alcohol there. They're going to have an outside restaurant that is going to increase noise levels. Yes, I have made through the years multiple phone calls asking them to close the doors. I don't want to hear the music. It doesn't really matter what time. People in the area want to enjoy their property also, not just so that the owners can make a profit in a residential neighborhood. So please address the noise in the rope course. Thank you.
Good point. Thank you. Felicia Salvatore.
I think I know this lady.
She looks familiar.
Felicia Salvatore, 48 Van Wagner. I was actually there when they did the test with the two cars. Actually, my husband was there, and I was in the back at my house. And I can honestly say that I didn't really notice a difference. But again, it was two cars, and I didn't know exactly really what time they were running. But again, I didn't really hear it. But then when you think about it, you have however many, 6, 8, is it 8 cars or 6? 6 to 8, somewhere around there, cars that are going to be going at the same time, and they're going to be kind of going, you know, I was at the movies the other day, and I know that that's inside, so it's a little louder, that kart race thing that they, but it's like, you know, ongoing.
How about the Galleria?
What's that?
At the Galleria?
Yeah, so I mean, I was just trying to imagine what it would be like outside and, you know, just ongoing. And then I didn't realize that the track with the people was going to be yearly, and I could just picture people screaming down at their friends that are on go-karts, and I just think that it's going to be really, really noisy. And like Rita said, when the doors are open, we recently had a problem, which they took care of, where we heard a lot of music. But in the summertime, when the doors are open, you do hear a lot of noise from there. So, you know, I imagine that if there's outdoor dining and, you know, a lot of fun things, but I just really think that the noise is going to be, you know, a huge problem. And I know Rita's a gardener. She's out in her yard constantly. I'm kind of busy, so I'm not home as much, and we live in the back where we won't be seeing it all the time. I would imagine neighbors, and I don't know if any of them are here, but that actually look at the site would be, I mean, my dogs bark at a plastic bag that's actually at Dutchess overhead doors. I keep forgetting to go get it because it's like against my fence. And my dog he goes nuts every time I let him out just because he barks at a bag. So I can't imagine, you know, having pets that would see this kind of activity. And I mean, I'm sure they would get used to it. But those are just my concerns. I mean, I think they're doing a really nice job on the inside. And the parking lot has been much busier than it has been in the past. I'm hoping that the bowling alley and the food and everything and the inside things that they have maybe will help it stay busier, throughout the winter. I just think it's going to be a little bit noisy.
I got a question. Was it always noisy when it was the Marty Bob for years? Was it always noisy?
No, only when the doors are open, really, do you hear noise, except, I've lived there since 1986. Before Duchess Overhead Doors added that other building and fenced it in, we used to get a lot of stragglers from the bar that would, end up in my property after a few drinks and partying in the woods and such. But once they put that fence up, that took care of that. And, you do hear parking lot noise in the summertime, people that are hanging out by their cars, whatever. But truthfully, I can't tell you how many people that come to my house. I have parties or barbecues in the summertime. They say, wow, you live in so it's nice and quiet here. I can't believe how quiet your house is. Because of where I live, everybody assumes it's going to be really noisy, but it's actually a very nice, quiet area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who didn't sign up who'd like to speak? Yes. Yes, sir. Just need your name once you sit down. Take your time.
Either one.
I don't want you falling down.
Sean Pitcher.
Okay.
I live right across the street, 26 Taft Avenue. I've been there for over 17 years. My grandfather owned the property about 25 years before that, so we've been in that house for about over 40 years. The bowling alley has always been a problem for us with the noise after the bar. I pick up garbage every single day from my yard because I have to walk past. They're always loud. The cops are there all the time when it was the bowling alley. Now they're going to spill out into the parking lot. It's going to be a major problem for us. As a real estate agent as well, I work at Central Hudson. I've been there for 27 years. And I'm a real estate agent for 8. I know my property value was going straight down as soon as they put that outside amusement outside. I'm directly across the street, so I hear it every night in the middle of the night. My dogs, as soon as you hear it, it wakes the house up because they bark when the kids leave the bowling alley at midnight. So that wakes up the whole house. So it's going to be even worse where they spill out into the parking lot. They're inside. We dealt with it. They're inside. But now you're going to put them outside. It's going to be teenagers and everyone hanging out in the summer months. And it's going to be garbage that we're going to pick up even more because they have to get to and from there. I've been there for over 40 plus years.
Okay. No, thank you. I heard some very, very good feedback tonight. That's excellent. Thank you. Anyone else? There was someone over. Yes, sir.
My name is Darrell Peterson. I'm at 29 Taft Avenue. I'm pretty much right across the street from the bowling alley. I'm pretty new. I've only been there for approximately 3 years. March will be 3 years. And from my limited experience there, I've noticed a lot of foot traffic come across my lawn. I have litter in front of my home from the patrons that go to this bowling alley. Now, I know it's not their customers, it's the previous owner's customers, but they're going to get some of the previous owner's customers. And that is a major concern for me, as well as my neighbor across the street. I have a dog also. When people walk by my house and are too noisy, making a ruckus, my dog wakes up my home too. And I have a 2-month-old, so the dog is going to wake me and my 2-month-old up as well. Okay. I've noticed some activity in the parking lot. Stuff that none of us really want to see. Okay, people coming to pick stuff up and keep it moving. Okay, could I have done something? Yeah, I could have, but you know what? My family's there, and I don't need to jeopardize their safety. Okay, as long as they didn't bother me, I didn't have to bother them. All right. As far as the business, we would like to see something, if this does go forward, we would like to see something that protects all of our rights. We don't want our property values to go down. As you know, I am brand new. Obviously, I don't want my value to go down. I'd like it to go up, just like everybody else here in this room. And I would like my neighbors to be as considerate to me as my next door neighbor would be. In in regards to their outdoor eating area. How long is it going to be available? What are the operating hours? That's very important. Are they going to be open till 2 a.m.? Many people go to sleep by that time.
I do.
Okay. Are they going to have a level of security available for the number of people that they would like to have at their facility? Because like I said, I did notice some strange activity in their parking lot. Are they going to keep unwanted activity out of their area? Will we have to have the police post an officer there? That's something going forward we can all look into, because like I said, I can look directly into their parking lot from my home. I could look out my window into their parking lot. That's how close I am to them. Okay, so if they do have their go-karts, they tested 2 brand new go-karts sound great. But 2, let's say, whatever it is, 10, over 6 months, a year, are they still going to sound brand new? No. What are they going to sound like? Are they going to sound like my snowblower? I don't know. But what are they going to sound like? Am I going to hear it while I'm home relaxing? I think that's roughly about all I can say about now.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
But we're not going to close the public hearing, so there will be another one down the road at the next meeting in a month or two, whatever it is. So you can come back to that also.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
John,
Yes.
point out about the town board's got to approve all of this too. Don't they?
Sorry, what's the question?
The
town board has
got to
approval.
approve this noise ordinance and all that change as well, right?
There was a proposed amendment to the BH district regarding outdoor recreation that was initiated by the town board, which I think was mentioned. It's been adjourned. So it remains on the table, but it's been adjourned. Separately, there has been discussion of a separate amendment to the noise ordinance, because in discussing this project and outdoor recreation in the districts that it's permitted in, we realized that for outdoor recreation, historically, it's only occurred in a couple of places in the town, and there haven't been applications in other locations. But for those districts in which it's permitted, the noise ordinance, which is not part of the zoning code, could potentially be modified to address the noise issues from such activities. Presently, the noise ordinance does not specifically address the kinds of noises that could come from these activities, and it's never been a problem because of where those uses are presently located. So that's something that's under discussion, but there is no proposal at the present time.
So the point, if I may, you also would have the opportunity to go to the town board meeting when they take this up at they're the elected guys. Okay, when they take this up at their meeting, you'd have the opportunity to go there, and you probably should, when this comes up on their agenda for discussion. That makes sense? And the agenda is posted by our town clerk, and on a very, timely basis, so we keep, check the website, you can see what the agenda is gonna be for the meetings, and stay up with it, keep up with it, or call town hall.
And also to contact your local councilman and let him know since the town board will be involved in this to some extent, let him know what your concerns are too.
And that would be?
I think it's
Joe Conti, isn't it?
Joe Conti for.
It is Joe.
Third ward? Third ward? Is that right?
Although this proposal, this application, as it's proposed, does not have any approval by the town board.
As yet.
Correct.
Right. So that's
No,
what I'm
but
saying.
if they wanted to talk to their town councilman.
So it's on several fronts this is going on. Hope that answers the question. Okay, I move that we adjourn the public hearing to, and I'll give you, March or April. What's your pleasure?
The deadline for the March meeting is Monday.
Yeah.
And there's a long list here, so I would respectfully suggest.
April
I would
17th.
suggest that the
April
number of
21st.
issues here is probably better off meeting with staff separately to sit down. And a lot of the information we've talked about, we can get onto the maps, but I think it's going to take a little more time.
So I move that we adjourn the public hearing to April 21st, 2016.
Second.
Moved in second, call the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Go around the board for comments.
John mentioned there during the public hearing that this will be back again on April 21st. There will, just for the public's benefit, there will not be a separate notification sent by mail to owners because it's being publicly adjourned. So if there are any changes to that, it would be on the town's website on the planning board agenda.
Okay. Don, anything on this?
Nope.
Ben, we'll start with Ben.
Are there any, on this go-kart and rope course, are there any age limits?
Probably no one younger than 4. I mean, probably about 4. Sometimes at the base of these, they have little things for like 3-year-olds to do. I just want to, and a lot of good comments were made tonight, and we need to marinate on all those. But I just want to highlight to everyone in the room that what the facility was before for the last 20 years is very different than what we're making it. And I know that in years past, it was a rougher crowd. There was, a lot of good comments were made about stuff going on in the parking lot. It should be very clear to everyone that what we're doing is transforming it into a family entertainment center. And with all these changes, it attracts sort of a different Friday, Saturday, Sunday crowd that didn't frequent this facility before. And with that comes a change with all sorts of, you eliminate all those things that used to happen in the parking lot. And I think everyone would agree there has been a change in the since we took over with at least an additional crowd coming to the facility and we're not a late night facility. This outdoor area is really it's not meant to be like an outdoor bar. It's really meant just to be an outdoor sitting area so that when parents are there with their kids who are climbing on the ropes course, they have somewhere to sit. And these activities outdoors would really just go to dusk, and then they would shut down. In other words, we're not going to have outdoor lighting on these, so they in the summer months when they're going on, they'll shut down when it gets dark, and we could shut down the outdoor seating area along with it. The outdoor seating area was really meant as okay, if you're there with your 2 kids and they're up climbing around for an hour, where do you go? Okay, we'll have some seats outdoors so people could sit and watch their kids. But I do, we listen to all the comments, and I think they're good, and we'll try to address those best we can.
One of the residents mentioned visiting another site. I know you have at least one other site. Is it in the same type of area locale as this with houses around, or is it more?
We don't have another site currently like this. What we do have a site in Peekskill where we plan to develop, and it's on the Hudson River, where we'll be developing an outdoor ropes course and stuff. It's not yet up. I will say that there is no. Someone had a comment regarding people cheering during racing. It may seem like that would take place, but there's no cheering when people are racing. Partly because when you're racing, you're wearing a helmet, and really you can't hear anything going on outside. And it's not like a spectator sport where you're cheering. It's more of you're out there for 8 minutes and you're rolling around, and then there isn't like a cheering thing going on. And the carts that we did test with are about 4 years old.
What was the decibel that they were running
At the property line, I don't remember. I think it was like 72. But to put that in perspective, the passing cars were at like 90. So when you were standing on the road, you couldn't really hear the carts, but the passing cars were dramatically, from a decibel level, were way higher.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ben, anything else?
Carl?
Yeah, I'll just reiterate that. I was one of the guys that went over to see that, to hear the carts in action. And as soon as we get halfway across the parking lot toward Taft Avenue, you couldn't really hear the carts as much anymore. Albeit it was only 2 carts, and we'll see, but they were well muffled, not like you've seen, on the past. And I think one of the issues you said it was for more geared toward children, so that you were not running these at 45 miles an hour like the indoor carts, so that they won't be as loud from that perspective as well.
That's right. We feel like we will be targeting more of a family crowd. That is, that's what we look to do. Also, it's a daytime activity, not a nighttime activity.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest questions, hearing all the neighbors' comments. I mean, the main concern that came across was noise and lighting and stuff. And if it's not happening past dusk, then that helps a lot with that. They can get to sleep without the noise. So the noise is more from the bowling crowd, from what I hear in the past, coming out the door. But this sounds more family oriented. So I agree in it. Once you have an attractive business versus one that's falling apart there, that attracts a better crowd and that offers more security in general, and you should have less of an undesirable activity.
It's the broken windows theory, right? Like if the place looks derelict,
Right.
I mean, right now the place looks, in our view, it looks spectacular, and people go in there and you could see the crowd. It attracts a whole, families that want to go there and enjoy themselves for the night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's got some a lot of improvements. I mean, there's still a lot to do outside. I know there's some there's a trash pile and some overgrowth by over by Dutchess overhead door area and stuff around there. And I guess the question I had was, were you going to do any resurfacing the parking lot? A question came up on drainage. There's like a main storm drain in the middle of the parking lot, but the go-karts go toward a more lower area, and the pavement's a little rough there. Are you going to have an issue with drainage through the Jersey barriers? And
just like we improve the inside of the facility, we would do the same thing to the outdoors. So we want, when you approach that facility, we want it to look like a top-notch facility. With us, we don't view ourselves in the business of bowling or, arcade. We view ourselves in the business of supplying an experience. And that experience, a big part of that is, what does the facility look like when you show up to it? So we want our property to look, top end, top notch when you show up.
It's a work in progress, really, right now.
Well, the outdoors is because we're still finishing the inside, and we're about 85%.
And outside, and landscaping and things we'll be looking for to get some good landscaping in there as well. It's kind of barren as it is today.
And we're not done with the facade. We ran out of time because the winter hit, so we kind of put that all on hold and touched it up best we could. But come springtime, we'll finish up what we're doing in the outside of the building there as well.
So I want to just clarify, even though you said the ropes course is permanent, is that something that will be used during the summer?
It's permanent from a standpoint of the structure being there, but the elements actually will come down in the winter, and so it's only operational in those
summer months,
in the summer months. Yeah,
same time as the go-karts.
That's right.
And the same thing with the outdoor seating as well. That goes with that.
And again, the seating is we're not looking to run a pub outside. What we're looking to do is provide a place basically for people to hang out when their kids are doing the activities is the main thing. And we're not looking to have, the way we even do our races is when you get a race, you get a time. So, like, if you're in the 9:15 race, or I'm sorry, the 3:15 race or the 3:30 race, the rest of the time we want you on the inside because we want you hanging out in our Redemption Arcade or doing laser tag or something. We don't want you just hanging outside.
From a perspective of the surrounding neighbors, also, I assume there's some new apartments going in up on the side, and you want to attract an element of the people to come in as well. So, take a look at what you can do to enhance any kind of pedestrian access to the area. See what, put a bike rack in, go-karts.
There it is.
I mean, gotta get that in there, right? I did have a question about the trailers, the storage trailers that are in the middle by the ropes course there. Is that like, they look like that blue trailer that's there currently, or is it something different?
Well, the trailer there that is now is a construction trailer that we have. That will go away. And what we've learned is your code doesn't allow a trailer to be there full-time. So what we could do, the trailer is really just there for where we put the go-karts at night. And we have a number of options there. We could build a small structure to put those in, or, I mean, the thought was we would have a trailer there to leave the go-karts, and then at the end of the season, we would take it away.
Okay.
And store it off-site.
That's why I didn't know if it was gonna be stored on-site for the winter and for.
No, it's just at night to lock up the carts, but we have a number of options that we could look at there.
Sounds good. Drainage. Just make sure I hit everything.
Well, we'll certainly have more opportunities.
Yeah, I think I'm good for now.
If anybody hasn't seen the inside of the bowling alley since these people took over, they should take a ride over and take a look, because they've done a world of difference on the inside. And it's really an attractive, nice place.
Thank you.
Yeah, a couple of things. When you sell a ticket to some kid or whatever, how long are they able to use the track?
It's typically around a 10-minute race.
Okay. So, I mean, unless somebody wants to keep rebuying, how much is a ticket?
We haven't even, I mean, I could tell you what we charge in Mount
All I'm
Kisco.
trying to suggest is the level of activity that you may have to begin with. I mean, I've gone over on Overrock Road and see the go-karts over there. I don't see an awful lot of activity there. I don't know what kind of cars they are, if they're electric or gas. I think they're gas.
I think they're gas.
Yeah. And I, quite honestly, didn't even, from the road, from hitting golf balls, I didn't hear an awful lot of noise there. But I don't see an awful lot of activity either. So that's just an observation in that regard. Another question I had is the track material that is the fencing, what is that?
It's thick plastic barriers that interconnect with each other that we would fill with water.
Yeah.
They're
You do
about,
fill them with water.
and they're about maybe 18, they're maybe 2 feet high.
Yeah. So there is no possibility of a breakthrough if one of the carts hits the wall?
I mean,
I'm just thinking about noise again, kids bouncing off the walls, and is there any noise there, or is it just?
I mean, could it happen? It could happen where someone hits a side, hard. But
My biggest concern is, with it being plastic, is the noise level again. It's too bad you don't have something close by that somebody could go look at and listen to and so on. But.
Wait, did you say Mount Kisco you have something?
Well, we have an indoor go-kart track there, but it sounds very.
The same carts?
The carts are in use in Mount Kisco, yeah. But it's a very different sound when it's inside. I mean, when you take it outside, it just sort of disappears. Yeah.
Echoing off the walls indoors.
Okay. Anything else at this point?
Bill, is there any place in the Northeast where there's a similar facility, even if it's not your own?
That's outdoors. Well, I mean, there is the place down the street, right? That has on Route 55 here.
On DeGarmo.
No, right here, right?
By Manchester Bridge is a place where they race something.
No, I mean literally like a minute from here.
Oh, you mean the page kind of back area?
Yeah. Does it? I mean, where
That's a seasonal thing. That's only special races every.
Yeah, that's a competition kind of.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But I mean, he's got outdoor carts, so we could theoretically.
People bring their own to.
That's more the level where people build their own carts and and go on weekends to different places.
Okay.
And it's not residential.
Okay.
It's an industrial park area, basically.
Kind of carts at the.
But the one on Overlook Road that Ed mentioned, I've been at those carts as well, and I don't think they're as loud. I think they're louder than the ones that.
Probably they're
that are
probably
in your
souped
parking
up.
lot. So they're just
I would
more-
suggest as we move forward, if we do move forward, that, if you're coming back in April, May, we're getting closer to spring, you might want to set up a time where you put the neighbors in, bring up 3 or 4 carts, run them, and let people actually see what's going on.
Right, that's a good idea. Yeah.
nothing like getting some hands-on with the neighbors and, and outreach to the neighbors, invite them into the facility, let them see it, let them see what you're doing, make them part of your solution. Right, Rich?
I don't have anything to add.
Okay. It's outdoor seating, is it gonna be, it won't be serving alcohol there, it's basically a place, if you go inside and have a hot dog, you can come out and sit and watch your kids.
Right, I
Or
mean,
something.
we're open to all suggestions. We'd like the ability for people to take their beer outside if they're hanging out there
And
for an hour.
that's a permit you have to get from the liquor license.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. One of the things I thought of, again, along with the fence was perhaps some trees on the borders, on the several sides and fencing and trees, and they could be the deciduous trees, because obviously I'm going to run this in the summer, but something that would help also mitigate the noise and what have you, so we need to talk about that too. At any rate, we have ways to go. So, that all said, let's see. Okay, I move that we determine the application is incomplete for SECRA, review pending additional information on the proposed action and its potential effects.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And I move that the planning board defer action on the site plan application and direct the applicant to respond to comments of the planning board and those received from town departments and agencies, but not limited to the following, and then they were enumerated in here. And of course, the comments made by the public this evening. It's been taking good notes on all those comments, so we have that. In addition to everything's being recorded and broadcast, so we have it there too. Okay, so, do we have a second?
Second.
Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We'll see you in April.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you. Application number 6, River Point. Residential in West Park, professional buildings, site plan and aquatic resource permit hearing and lot line revision review regarding of the proposed development plan amended to include a single 7-story building containing 85 age-restricted units, 31,534 square feet, medical office, and 13,976 square feet of retail pharmacy or medical service use. 2055 South Road and 83 Old Post Road, zoned OR Office Research with a senior housing overlay district designation, 7.14 acres. Negative declaration was adopted on March 20th, 2014, WA Route 9 LLC owner.
Yeah.
Good evening. I'm Kyle Ahern with the Chazen Companies. I have Mike McCormick here with me this evening. We're here for River Point. We were previously here at the end of last year, I believe it was. The project's been, we've been working with the state DOT in regards to the accesses to the site, as well as the acquisition that needs to take place at this parcel to support the proposed project, and also the utilities within the right-of-way. Since that time, we have also taken care of some of the comments that we received from the planning department and consultants and town departments. One of the main, on the site plan, one of the main changes is we've increased pedestrian accessibility here along the eastern edge of the property. Anyone that's parked in the last couple rows of parking now have an easier way of getting towards that front door of the main building. Beyond that, it's been some notes and some other comments that we've been taking care of as we receive those letters. So we're here tonight. We'd like to discuss a project. We think that we've taken care of the biggest comments. We are looking for a conditional site plan approval tonight, and we're here to answer any of your questions.
Okay, thank you. Eric?
Sure. Do you want to do that first or the hearing?
No, you go.
Okay. Let's see. I'm sitting for Liz Axelson of Mars Associates, who provided most of the comments in your packet this evening, although I did provide you some separate information from staff. We're in agreement with Liz Axelson that the application has made progress, but there's still a fair amount of information yet to be shown on the plans. So, we wanted to open it, to recommend that it be open for discussion tonight with the board. They haven't had a chance to look at the comments, have some exchange back and forth. I think there may be, one of them's not here tonight, it's possible at least one member of the board. This plan may be new to them, so they may have some questions. At least two members of the board. So we should have that discussion, take our comments back. We'd be happy to sit down with you in between to go over some of the comments from staff and other departments and agencies to upgrade for next time. There is some regard. Also, we did have a meeting with the DOT. We haven't yet received comments from them, but we're anticipating that they may have some comments that will regarding the Route 9 right-of-way. Not with the acquisition that's proposed, but apparently there are standards relating to sidewalks, and in a separate meeting that we had with them, they've indicated that they're going, like I said, we haven't received these comments yet, but they said that they're going to be seeking a sidewalk entirely along Route 9 within their right-of-way, despite the rock outcrop that we know is there, and they may be seeking some revisions to the one-way exit onto Route 9. So reach out to DOT and see if you can get an update on what they're going to be seeking, because we haven't received a response yet, but we do foresee that coming down the pike. Also, in part regards to this set of plans that was submitted, we would like to see the off-site improvements previously proposed incorporated plan set, the highway improvements. I know the sewer line is there. But we haven't, I think the Mazer consulting plans need to be brought back in and make sure that they're coordinated with the current revision of plans. There's some comments about the blasting notes, some signage, pedestrian, a loading area, a few other things that can be cleaned up.
I failed to mention the loading area is actually in the back here. There's an access there to the trash room, and there's also a space there for a loading vehicle. So we dimensioned that. We provided the dimensions for that area.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so.
There's also, I think also the engineer and the traffic consultant may have had a couple of comments.
I think we'll get to that.
Okay.
Let's do the public hearing first. So I have a motion to open the public hearing.
Moved.
Second.
Moved in second, open the public hearing. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Does anyone wish to comment on this application? No one signed up on the sign-up sheet, but. Sir? No, you're good? Okay. Seeing no one, I think we'll adjourn the public hearing till
April?
March. You be prepared to come back in March?
That would be a submittal by Monday.
That might be a little tough.
I move that we
So-
adjourn the public hearing to April 21st, 2016.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Call a question. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Let me go around. Don?
They are coming along pretty well. We do have continued concern over the retaining walls. We have some drainage things that need to be finalized, some stuff with the water and the sewer. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you. Rich?
Yes, we had a few minor comments related to some of the pavement markings within the site, and then the primary concern was how New York State DOT is handling the access and any modifications that they have. So we'd like to be kept in the loop with your discussions with DOT. Also, we want to confirm that the off-site improvements that were previously committed to are still committed to, and as Eric mentioned, those plans should be incorporated into your set.
Okay. Carol? Hi, Carol.
Hello.
Haven't seen you in a while.
I know, it's been a while. Thank you. I basically still have some comments that have been addressed. We've been addressing them or asking for additional information on them for at least since 13 regarding the wetland mitigation, which still has not been satisfied, particularly with the repeated pattern of mitigation and some issues of regarding the wall and landscaping in that area. And also, I'm not sure where we stand with the Army Corps permit anymore, because that was an issue that kind of got the Corps basically didn't abide by their timeline, so you know, were offered the permit, you're just basically defunct permit. But that may have expired at this point in time. And no matter what, the whole Army Corps permit, the nationwide permit process, the permits expire in 2017 in March. So if you're not even getting around to it, you're still going to need to go through that process once more time.
Okay, I'll look into the expiration of that.
Thank you, Carol. Before I go around with the rest of the board, I'd like to, we have two new board members. We have Ben and Rocco, who's not here this evening. So I'm going to suggest that maybe we should have a session with staff, and I'll invite them specifically, and anyone else who wants to come. But they've not seen this project at all, so I'd like to have some kind of a, overview that they can see what's going on and the whole, all those details.
Makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Ed?
Okay. Yeah, I've been around.
I thought I said at 9.
This was when I first came on the board, wasn't it?
Was it 20 years ago?
The one thing I remember about this project was originally it had parking underneath the building. And to me, this is kind of a high-end project for, apartments and so forth. That to me is really a necessity almost. And I still wonder if even a parking garage in the back, so that you don't interfere with the view shed from the apartments, might be a consideration at some point. I know you got deliveries in there, but I think that could all be designed within. I don't know if it's practical or not, but I keep hearing all the complaints about all of the condominium areas that don't have parking underneath in the shelter. And if you're going after a high rent district here, which I think you are, that might be something worthwhile to consider. So I offer that as a suggestion. The rest of my comments always have to do with the traffic flow and DOT and all of that wonderful stuff. But things have been going on for so long now, I don't even ask for a turn on Spring Road. Everybody's so used to turning in without a stop, so fine, let's move on. Rich?
Yeah, I think things are, the thing is finally getting scaled to the point where it's probably starting to become economic. Before, and I guess that was always probably one of the problems with that parking lot underneath too, is it just turned into such a money hole that,
Retaining wall.
But Ed does make a good point. There ought to be something, particularly for our real high rent, senior housing or whatever we have here, that's convenient for the residents, park their cars, particularly in the winter, when you got snow and everything else. There ought to be some kind of accommodation for that. So anything you could come up with that would lead to that, whether it's like it says a little parking garage or maybe a roofed-in area, who knows? But there ought to be some creativity that looks at that to see if there's, I think that would make it much more saleable, but then,
We'll certainly take it back to the client and speak with them and see their thoughts about such.
But I do understand the problems with it too. This is a tough site with all the rock and everything else, and so.
Well, you gotta do that retaining wall anyway, so I'm thinking.
Contracting can be a real, barrier here. It's gonna cost to build the thing. Aside from that, I think we've got more discussions to go yet. Ben? Have any comments?
I don't have anything tonight this time. I'd like to learn a little bit more about it.
Carl?
Yeah, they were mentioning these things. I know the underground parking became prohibitive in the previous plan. Maybe a concierge service to clean snow off of cars or something like that could be offered. For a fee, of course, but whatever. Something to help with that. My concern also is what the DOT is going to require with you with the sidewalks. I think what you're trying to maintain that big rock outcropping there, right, in the current design, because that'll help shield the residents from traffic noise from Route 9 as well as light and everything else.
Keep the existing vegetation for additional screening.
And vegetation there as well, so that big whole rock section along there. is kind of in a way, I walked it this morning a little bit on the outside along Route 9, and there's barely 10 feet of distance to put like a 5-foot buffer and a 5-foot sidewalk. If they make you go along that section, there's some spots where you'd have to take rock out, and you run into some issues of a storm drain in the middle there as well. And so depending on what you deal with DOT, I guess my suggestion is minimize what, try to make them compromise on what to do with that rock there, and so you don't take away that barrier for the residents' noise. I guess that's all I got right now. It's been
Thank you.
along well.
Well, John has left us temporarily, but he probably got some comments. We need insufficient information for seekers.
No, the project, to recap briefly, this application was the subject of a secret negative declaration in 2014, I think it was. And it then went, there was a positive recommendation to the town board on the proposed rezoning. That itself wasn't, this application under consideration is an amended application from an earlier one. So the amended application received a secret negative declaration from the planning board and a positive recommendation to the town board on rezoning. The town board did grant a senior housing overlay district designation for the project. And then it disappeared for a while. My understanding is that the DOT, the acquisition process from DOT got particularly extended in Albany. Very extended. And I think, as you heard in Alan Daniels in November, I think he said they finally got through that process, which was critical to them coming back to the planning board. And that brings us to today.
So I think
So seeker, in short, seeker is done. The remaining approval is from the planning board, and if there are any variances then required, then from the zoning board.
Okay, so all we really need is.
So I guess I'll make a motion.
Correct. So the only motion necessary would be to defer.
I'll move the planning board defer action on the site plan, aquatic resource permit, and lot line revision applications, and direct the applicant to respond to the most recent comments of the planning board and those received from town departments and agencies, including but not limited to the following 1 through 15, and comments tonight.
Okay. Second.
You can call the question.
Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
So we'll see you in April.
Thank you.
I'm glad you guys are back after, I don't know how long, I've lost track of how long this project's sort of been on the shelf.
Been a while, too. A while.
Now you got bend the rule.
Mike or Kyle, so if you like, give me a call. John wanted to set up an introduction for the new members. Yeah, we might as well. Yeah.
Okay, at this point, I'd like to have a motion to suspend the rules for comments on any other agenda items.
So moved.
Call the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Anyone in the audience wish to comment on any other applications before this board? That being under plan review C. Okay, hearing no one, I move we resume the rules.
Second.
Call the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, plan review, Dutchess Golf and Country Club Building Addition, architectural review regarding an 800 square foot addition to the existing enclosed patio at the clubhouse, 2628 South Road, zoned R20, residence single family, 20,000 square feet. Type 2 action, Dutchess Golf Club LLC owner, and I will tell you that the removal of the fence along Route 9 and what they're doing there is just perfect.
Thank you.
Did you design that by yourself?
What's that? The fence removal? We did.
I see, good. Take credit, Mike.
No matter what, right?
Absolutely.
This is actually the first piece of this application this evening. The second piece will be regarding site plan modifications that are being contemplated and a discussion about such. This first application is with regard to the hopeful approval of a minor addition to the Dutchess Golf and Country Club building that is on site now of approximately 800 square feet. Essentially what we're doing is we're putting an addition out from where the dining area is towards the southern end of up towards the golf course itself. I have with me several, this is pictures of what's existing now for everyone to take a look at. And I give you pictures of the existing additions because it's going to look like that just 15 feet further out.
Right.
I mean, exactly. So it's really it's a very simple application.
I always wound up in the rain.
What's that?
It pushed out?
Yeah, just
I always wound up in the rain.
Yeah, no one even knows. I tell you, once it's done, no one will know it's done. It'll be just
It's good. I
very
think
easy
that's a
thing.
good move.
Yeah, and it gives us a little bit more space inside.
So it looks just like the rest of the building, but pumped out a little bit.
That's it, John.
Okay. Works for me. Any questions, comments, concerns?
I mean, there's a couple of steel, there's a couple of columns there, I guess structural elements that those are gonna remain as columns inside, or are they gonna move
Yeah.
and
Now, we're going to actually put 2 new pieces of steel in and extend the steel right out another 15 feet.
Okay, so you can open it up.
Yeah, open it all wide open, yeah.
Mike, you're going to extend the landscaping out that's there now?
Yeah, the exact landscaping that's there now, we're just going to push out towards the 18th green. So
It's just
there's a
kind of a-
really nice tree there, really nice tree that, is under threat of death if anyone hurts it, so.
Yeah, it's just kind of a grassy area there, flat right now, so.
Just don't let anybody in there with a
flat
bulldozer.
area,
Works-
very simple.
Works.
Get a big bulldozer, you can just push the landscaping as is and forget about it. Okay, no problem.
Make a motion to approve the architectural review and construction of the addition to the patio.
Okay, I'll second that. Call the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Good job. Good job. Dutchess Golf, Plan Review Number 2, Dutchess Golf and Country Club Concept Plan. Discussion regarding conceptual improvements to add a 30,000 square foot ancillary clubhouse, outdoor wedding function area, new ponds, landscaping, lighting, and putting green renovations. 2628 South Road, zoned R20, resident, single family, 20,000 square feet, 140 acres, Dutchess Golf Club LLC owner.
Good evening, Larry Boudreau with the Chazen Companies. So I was tasked to basically look at a couple of things, and
Does that mean you drew the short straw?
yes, Mike pulled me in and asked me to take a look at it. So here I am. The letter that I sent, the first thing is the addition of a 3,000 square foot building to be used as an ancillary clubhouse use. So what it is a raw bar. Mike will get into the details of it, but that's located here in this red. It's a seasonal use structure. It will have a bathroom and a kitchen in it. Behind it, the golf course wanted some more to introduce the lake feature, so that's what you see there. We had to move the green and redevelop that. That's what this is here. The other thing we wanted to add was an outdoor wedding function area, which is what all of this is here. And the idea would come off the southeastern part of the clubhouse and hit an aisle going down to a gazebo, which is where the bride and the groom would be married. As you go down, that center aisle on each side would be 2 turf panels of grass capable of supporting, yes.
There it is.
I'll speak into it better. Capable of supporting 150 seats on each side. So that's what that is here. And again, a gazebo there where the bride and groom would go. Now, what the golf course wanted was us to introduce all these water features here. So we have an upper pond, 3 feet higher than this lower pond, and then in the lower pond, we're going to work it into the contour of the 18th green. So they're currently are sand traps to the right of it. Those sand traps would come out and will develop the water feature to the right of it. We're also going to put in a wall similar to the one going on Route 9. That stone wall would be located here, so it makes a much more dynamic shot coming into the hole, and then also when you're sitting in the wedding function area, whether you look left or right, there'll be water features that you can be looking at. So that's kind of the big picture here. I wanted to show you how we're going to get it done. As Mike was saying, the key here is that all these nice existing trees are remaining. We had to work in and around them, and so they're all shown here, highlighted in green. This area right here, circled in green, is the existing putting green. So that gets moved over here. Everything we're developing on is either, turf. Well, it's either turf or some of the golf course area. So there's no clearing that needs to be done as part of this. What I show here on this plan is we are relocating part of the cart path. That's how we're able to get this done. We're kicking this out here. The original one is there. Over here, the original one swept around like this, and you can see how we're springing it tight to the building. By doing that, we're able to create the area to develop not only the aisle going down, but the area for the seating on both sides. All these specimen trees here on the golf course will remain. We'll supplement it with landscaping. So if you can imagine a kind of a wedding gazebo here with these very large specimen trees behind it, and then we'll supplement it with more trees and these lakes, these ponds on both sides will really be an attractive, wedding function area.
Did you say the golf cart path is going to cross that walkway, though?
This is the existing one.
Okay.
And we're pulling it back.
But it's still got to cross.
It's right here. So what we would do is we're putting gates on each side. So when the event is in place, it's shown.
Mike wouldn't want his daughter being run over, I'm sure.
Larry, that's not, Larry.
Yes.
That's not really a golf path.
Right, well.
It's an access
It's an
area.
access to that area.
Yeah, it's not you're thinking as a golf path for like when you're playing golf.
Yeah.
It's really just an access to go around the building. So golf play will never interfere with a wedding. So you're right.
Well, unless
Well, that
somebody's,
goes without saying, doesn't it?
unless somebody's
Yeah,
got.
I know, right? Yeah.
Unless somebody's got a bad slice, and then,
Well, I mean,
Is it out of bounds or is it in bounds?
That's
right.
Is that
Everything's
slice,
in bounds.
slice of cake or slice of?
the landing area, and of course, I guess you guys would know that, is technically here.
That's the helicopter pad
So-
or landing area? Golf, I'm not
Yeah,
a golfer.
yeah. But to answer that question, we are adding a
Sort of
path on the left side. So the cart traffic will go down the left side, not the right side. Sewer, there's a manhole here, existing manhole. So again, there's a kitchen, bathroom in here. We'll go through a grease trap and take the gravity line to the manhole. Water, there's a water main up here. We'll run the 2-inch line down into the building. Stormwater, we'll manage, the way this is set up, this is 3.5 feet higher than the lower pond. So we'll have a weir feature here that would cascade down into the lower pond. The lower pond will be controlled with the standpipe, and that standpipe will go into an infiltrator and go into the ground. These soils here are type A.
You're not
Very,
going
very
to
good.
recirculate?
What's that?
You're not going to recirculate?
We're going to recirculate here, but in the event of a rain event, there is a watershed to this pond, and we're controlling the fixed elevation. It'll go through the standpipe out, infiltrate in.
What feeds the pond?
Irrigation line. So
That's-
there'll be an irrigation feed on it, so when when it goes down, it'll go in.
I mean, that's the question I had, since there's no natural stream coming through here.
Right.
What's the source and sink,
Right.
and is there any stagnation that could happen? It sounds
Right,
like it's
well,
moving.
the two other things we'll add are aerators in the pond. They have to look good in order for this.
How about the lower pond?
Same thing, aerator in the lower pond.
Well, you're going to be using water from this water system to feed these.
Well, I said the irrigation line.
And the source of the water is well?
Well, the irrigation is being served, there's a pond out there.
There is a pond from which they drain for irrigation of the golf course.
That's what you, currently?
Yes.
To irrigate the golf course, they use an existing pond?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question.
How do you not drain it?
Yeah, right.
This area here that you're calling the wedding area for the seating,
Ben?
this area here?
I'm losing control. Ben, hang on a second.
Yeah.
I'm confused as to where all the water is coming from, that you don't drain some pond, someplace that used for irrigation. If it doesn't rain, is there going to be an auxiliary source of water to keep these ponds full?
So there's a irrigation line that loops the green.
Yeah.
So we'll tee into that line and go into the lake or
And
the
the
pond.
source of the water in the irrigation line is another pond someplace?
Yes, yes. So it'll have a lake feed, that's the way we do it.
So you won't be able to fill it all at once.
So where is the pond that's feeding the irrigation line?
I can.
Is it on this
I mean, I have to-
property?
I have
It's in
to
the
bring
back of the
aerial
Rheingold
Okay.
house.
show you.
That's what I was trying to picture.
But- but
I'm-
there's
okay.
18
You need to answer, get the answers to those questions.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
fine.
In a drought year, like, let's say last year,
Mhm.
how was your irrigation pond?
It's pretty big.
Those are good questions.
Okay.
I'll follow up.
There are several ponds on site.
Yeah.
I got the one up in the way back by
Yeah, way in
Wilbur
the back.
Boulevard.
Yeah, and then
You
there's.
don't want to drain that because that's where my house is. I don't want to look at the
No,
bottom.
it's not, yeah, we won't drain your pond. But then there's another one near the par three, that's
Yeah.
up towards the plaza.
Okay.
And the school.
These.
You can do some research. You don't have to give us an answer now. You can
Right,
do
these
some
aren't
research.
good questions.
Good questions, but they aren't that big. And when you think of a pond, from there, it might be, because this is at,
And you are recirculating
30
to some
scale,
degree.
so it's probably 30 feet.
Okay.
30 feet by.
All right.
I mean, it's
This green is about, I think, 6,000 square feet, so you can see it relative to the pond, so not a huge lift here.
The irrigation pond, is that one excavated or is that a natural pond?
That I don't know.
I think it's natural.
Are these ponds going to be lined with plastic liners? or-
Yes,
I
yes.
see, okay.
Yes, they have to. Again, these are A soils here.
Gotcha. All right.
It's going right.
I mean, that lower pond area, there's a natural depression there now, so it kind of lends itself to that, I think. But
All right, Ben had a question now. Go ahead, Ben.
Oh, this is what you're calling the wedding area here?
Yeah.
But that's for a ceremony, right?
Yeah, so this is.
And
this
then
is the aisle going down.
Right.
Right there.
And then the actual reception would be in this new building?
No, it'll be in the clubhouse.
Oh, in the clubhouse? Oh, okay.
It could be either way.
Larry, is there any contemplation of, for that seating area, for any structures to cover the seating area?
Good question. We talked about it in the event of rain, we're gonna bring tents in.
So it'll have some anchorings or some moorings where they can put a
Yeah.
tent if they had to.
Yep.
Okay, good idea.
Yep.
I think it looks like a great idea. I mean, it's wow, it's really going to upgrade this.
Well, it's certainly with a lot of golf courses, the links is big into that.
Yeah, I think it's.
I'm sure that's what they're trying to do.
we're trying to revitalize use of the clubhouse there.
And this person has a similar facility up in what, Saugerties or someplace?
Yes.
Yeah, he has a lazy
I'm told it's
swan.
absolutely gorgeous the way he's done up there.
Oh, what's?
Lazy Swan up in Saugerties. Yeah, very nice.
So that's the raw bar that they're.
Yeah, the Raw Bar building is essentially very similar to what they have up in Saugerties on their site up there, the owner. And there, it's 2 stories in terms of height. Here, we just have a single-story structure, approximately 3,000 square feet. Gives another facility on the site for people to go to and participate in entertainment and just really hanging out. on the site itself. So the idea is that he does very well with it up there in Saugerties, and it's a very nice central area, so he wants to bring that concept here to Poughkeepsie. The new owner is just a really good person who wants to do a really nice thing.
That's what I've heard.
We're very lucky to have him in our community.
Yeah, I think
A
it's.
really nice person with a lot of money.
What's that?
A really nice person with a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a
All
second.
right. Nice he wants to invest it in our town. I think
And
that's
invest
great.
in the
It's all
town,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have this person come to our community.
And they'll have a big open house and all kinds of things when they get this thing all built for all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
folks that have helped them, probably.
Yeah, it's really good.
So if we're nice to them.
Okay. Any other comments, guys? It's a discussion, so I don't,
Looks good.
yeah, I think you're good.
What do you think, any concept of your timing on an application?
April, so we'll hit the, because we're not making Monday, so.
I assume you're keeping that very large tree just
Yes.
south of the clubhouse?
Yes,
That's where
yep.
that pond goes around.
Got the orders very early on in that one.
Okay.
Or you touch a tree there, you're in trouble.
Larry, if you want to, like, sit down a couple of weeks before submittal date and run through the plans and
Okay.
maybe scope out some questions so you can hit them on the first run through, why don't you give me a call? We'll sit
I'll
down
do
and do
that.
that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So I think we'll skip the next one. We'll go to,
Would you like that?
oh, did I say that? Okay, McDonald Heights Town Center Site Plan Discussion and Planning Board to declare its intent to be lead agency for a proposed mixed-use development including 288 to 350 residential dwelling units and apartments, townhomes, 85,000 to 185,000 square feet of mixed commercial development, recreation area, and associated parking. 928, 932, 935, and 936 Dutchess Turnpike, and Victory Lane Zone, McDonald Heights Center.
Oh, yeah.
IH Heavy Industry, 60.87 acres. Yeah. Type 1 action, Meadowview Properties LLC, Kirchhoff Properties LLC, and Industrial Retro LLC owners. I like the Duchess Golf Country Club.
Are we on?
As long as you turn on the mic.
How do we turn on, I've connected for the PowerPoint?
Green down.
Well, I don't know.
We're just high-level executive type.
That's just way above our pay code.
Not next.
Sure.
That's Eric, he gets paid, we don't.
There should be a plug, a
Plugged it
computer
in.
connection on the dais.
HDMI cable there or something?
Yep, I didn't see an HDMI cable, but
I
there's
thought there was
a,
HDMI there.
I know where it is, I can't tell you how to do it.
well, there's another cable I've already plugged in, so I'm just not sure if I'm connected to the right one here. Yes, I plugged in.
I remember Marist had a problem, and standard on computers is a way to throw your screen to a DVD, which I don't know what the code is on your computer, like an Alt key or something. Does that
Not
mean
a legal
anything?
issue.
That's all I know.
Speak to me.
It's
gonna be a short presentation.
Could be. That might be better.
There we go, see, it's coming up.
Connected here.
It's on the screen here now.
Are we on?
It's on this screen,
It's on no screens.
Thanks. Warming up.
Oh, it has to warm up.
There you go.
These are working.
Yep.
Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, that's what's supposed to be.
It's up there, there it is.
There we go.
As Sandy said, it's warming up.
Now we're getting there.
Nope. Popcorn is
Sorry that didn't run a little smoother.
Well, I'm usually in the
Okay.
dark, so that's okay.
Are we ready? Richard Rang, Kirchhoff Companies. Joining me is Joseph Kirchhoff. We're here to discuss the recently submitted McDonald Heights Town Center application. Oh, hang on, let me take a step back here. All right, the property's been in Joe's possession since, I think, 2005 or so, the majority of the land.
Back in 2007, the town adopted a new town plan and identified several areas in the town as town centers, this being one of them, McDonald Heights. The zoning that followed promoted a town center type zone, which was predominantly mixed use, trying to create a walkable community. We've worked with the town board. Neil Wilson, Grandpa, I guess, is not here tonight, but he's been very helpful in terms of us getting the image that we wanted to bring forward to match the town's views of what you wanted to see in the town center. You're familiar with the zoning. A little bit about the zoning, and, like I indicated before, the property spans Route 44 by the Wartburg Concord Village Nursing Home, just north of the Industrial Retro or the Poughkeepsie Business Park site. This is where it's located. That's the outline of the town center, halfway between the Arlington area and Pleasant Valley. The majority of the property that's outlined in that town center is owned and controlled by the applicant. There's just a couple small pieces that we don't control. And what we did recently is we acquired the property to the left side, to the northwest side of Route 44, the farm property, because the purpose of this project is to create a town center, which really requires the whole area to be part of an application. We originally were going to propose something on the other side, just on the other side, but I think the continuity of being able to bring them all together to create that town center, I think, enhance the program that we're bringing forward right now. As I indicated, back in 2007, the town adopted a new town plan, and following that was the new McDonald Heights Center zoning. This is a bullets, and I won't necessarily bore you with all of them, about what you're trying to achieve in this zone. Mix of businesses and residential uses, ability to park once and walk to facilities as opposed to driving from strip mall to strip mall. Minimize the visual impact of parking. In other words, try and have the streetscape dominated by pedestrians and buildings as opposed to the parking lots, and that's what we're attempting to do. And again, this is actually an important one to create that critical mass of employees, shoppers, and residents, and that's why the mixed use of the project actually is very important to the success of the project. We have a residential component. Oh, you want me? We have the residential component and the commercial component of the project, I think, actually support each other very nicely in terms of being able to have that critical mass that the town's looking for. Again, this speaks to the parking and being able to walk from unit to unit. There'll be some green spaces, public gathering spaces. There's actually a very large area that we're looking to preserve as open space and actually make that available to the public. Trying to create various housing opportunities. Most of what we're looking to do here is in the apartment format. That seems to be what the county's identified as the biggest need in this area right now, is apartments. There seems to be a hole in that market, in that occupancy at all the apartment complexes in the area very high right now. Demand is very high, so we feel that this is something that's being sought after. Looking to preserve a lot of the natural features on the property. In fact, the property backs up against the Wappinger Creek, and that whole area is going to be preserved as public access parklands. Okay. Normally I'm told I'm too loud. Let's see. All right, so in order to try and figure out exactly what we needed to do to make this the town center that the town was hoping to be able to see, we took some inspiration from various areas. This is just a list of some of the communities that we actually looked at, and these are some of the photos. In this particular photo, you're looking at how we're trying to activate the street. We want it to be pedestrian oriented. We're thinking that there will be some bistros or of the like that will have some on-street dining. Focused on the pedestrian more than on the vehicle is what we're looking to achieve here. There's some more similar type photos. The streetscape itself was important to us as well. These are some communities that we looked at. In the following slides will be some photos of those communities that show you what we're trying to achieve. This is a project down in North Carolina that has been a big inspiration for us in terms of what we're trying to achieve. You can see the first level of retail and dining. Floors above can be office space and or residential. Just a couple of other examples of angled in parking on some of the street loaded parking. Along Route 44, what we're proposing to do right now is a traffic circle. We feel it'll help to define the McDonald Heights Town Center. It'll help to control traffic. It'll make it much more convenient for people in that area to be able to move in either direction, because you can obviously make a U-turn very easily there if you needed to go in the opposite direction. And we've been meeting with the DOT to discuss, the potential of a traffic circle here, and they seem to be very interested in it, so. And again, just to show a boulevarded entrance which is what we're proposing on both sides of Route 44. You can see in the lower right-hand corner, there's a building at the terminus of that street, and we're trying to bring that forward as well, and you'll see that on the concept site plan that we'll be introducing in a moment. The residential inspiration, as I indicated, we're looking at an apartment community for the most part here. We do have some townhomes that we're proposing. This is some of the concepts that we were looking at in terms of the residential. We're figuring about a 3-story elevated service in most cases. Some more inspiration. This is actually Brookside Meadows in Pleasant Valley. And this is the first rendering that was created of what we're thinking about doing in the community. This is an artist rendering of the next slide will be our concept site plan, but as you can see, you've got that boulevarded entrance looking across the traffic circle, the street lined with the 3-story buildings, commercial retail type buildings and the uses on the first floor, office and or residential above, and at the terminus is another building. We actually have a medical office user that's interested in that site. And this is our concept plan right now. This is, it's not showing me my cursor here. So, and along Route 44, which is running up and down on the drawing there, north-south, we're creating a traffic circle. On either side, we're looking to load it with the street-level commercial. Is that, that'll help. Yes. As soon as I get the laser, and I'll try not to point it at any flying, planes flying overhead, so. Now you get to see how nervous I am when I'm trying to point at the screen. Yeah. I'll let Joe do it. What am I pressing here, Joe? Okay. There we go. Here's where we're looking to do the traffic circle. Route 44 is running here. This would be 2 boulevarded entrances going back and forth on either side of Route 44, lined by commercial uses. The residential component predominantly is proposed here. Right now, that's laid out as approximately 288 residential units. Additionally, we're looking into some townhome units along through here to create a buffer between the community next door and the commercial uses here.
If I may interrupt.
Sure.
On the other side there, are you talking about 3 levels where you've got commercial stuff underneath, or is that just strictly residential?
On the residential component is all residential. This would be all residential here,
but there's no integrated commercial.
Yeah, there is. These buildings that line the entrance road will be, on the first floor will be retail and restaurant. Second floor, we're anticipating offices, and possibly the third floor would be residential. So there'd be residential above these commercial uses here.
Yeah, but on the other side.
No, this is proposed right now as just a residential component in the project.
44 comes down between them.
Here's Route 44 here.
But I don't see.
Over here. That's 44 there.
Right, but I don't see commercial in there.
There's 3.
Back in here, commercial wouldn't be supported off of Route 44 effectively. So that's why the commercial is
I'm
predominant
talking
along.
about pastry shops, so on, restaurants, anything like.
That would be all off that.
On the other
These 2
side.
boulevarded
Central
entrances
Boulevard.
here.
Well, it's
That's
actually
a
on both
fairly
sides.
significant area.
Right, I understand that.
Actually, it's on both sides.
The western one, there's commercial on both sides.
Yeah, see, those
It's
two-
commercial on both
There's commercial on
sides.
both sides of Route 44,
Right.
But not integrated within.
not built into this residential component in the
Well, they might
back.
have- they might have
Commercial on one side of 44.
That's all commercial.
And that's
Right.
commercial on the other side of 44.
Right.
It's that commercial core and then the additional residents outside the core, that they could walk to it.
So as this is roughly laid out, this is about 85,000 square foot of
Commercial.
commercial.
Right.
How many acres you dealing with, Joe?
We have, in this
in the town center zone, we're in the 60s.
I think we're about 60 acres right now.
Total, and we own 80-something. Because we also own up on top.
Up and through here, and
Yeah.
some of the properties down here in industrial retro.
Right.
Any, I mean, the
You're
original.
developing what, about half?
I'm sorry?
Developing
Two-thirds.
about two-thirds,
Actually.
There's a large area,
coverage-
even on the 60 acres, there's a large area of open space that we're preserving back and through
Yeah,
here.
probably half of the town center land and much less of all the land we own.
Okay, I think I heard a number of 6,500 or so is what your acres you're developing there?
6,500. I'm not sure what you're saying.
No, there's probably about 30 acres out of the total 80 we own that we would develop.
Misunderstood you before. Okay. It's not as big as I thought. Okay.
I mean, I mean, one of the original proposals, the way back, it's not part of the center, was that, the 20 acres up here was some single families, I think, but that's,
Yeah, Carl, we pulled that back out when the town center zone got shifted.
right.
That's now out of it.
So you have no plans for anything up there at the moment?
No, nothing right now, no.
What I keep hoping for is you developers will someplace along the line start looking at single-level senior living. I don't see that.
Well, these apartments are elevator serviced.
And they're all.
I hear you, I hear you, I hear you.
You mean on ground level? So all the units, all those apartments have, there's several ground level, one-story apartments.
Yeah.
But they're not detached yet. Like,
Right.
what- I know where you were heading with that. yeah.
You mentioned Plymouth, Mass. I'm familiar with, it's called Pine Hills.
Okay.
Take a look at it sometime.
Pine Hills?
Yeah, it's a huge community, but they have some great concepts on senior living and single story and multiple story.
Right.
For us old
And I'm
people.
sure you've looked at thousands of these guys as well. I just happen to be familiar with it.
Yeah, Joe's,
Even includes
Joe's writing it
basement.
down. We're gonna take a look.
It's well worth a trip.
I mean, this is, yeah, I mean, the
Setting up
spirit.
This time of year, we'd rather go south if we're gonna go look at another piece of property.
That's what I was just gonna mention, that, no,
They didn't get any snow this year.
the single, I mean, the zoning, it does say TND required, and this is in that spirit of doing that commercial core with the
That's
three
why we're
stories
doing
of retail, commercial, and then living on top, so you have that security presence all year round.
Right,
It's,
eyes on the community 24/7
and-
is really what we're looking
I
for.
mean, there's some are good examples down in Maryland area, outside, northwest of there, Kings, Kentwood is one, Kings, is another, Kings.
Actually, one of the developers that, well, one of the architects that we work with a lot did that project in Maryland.
Twainy?
It's Mike Watkins.
Or Watkins, okay.
Yeah. So he's actually working with us on another project that we're doing now. So we've been using him and Union Studio on a lot of our projects. It's very TND oriented.
Actually, Mike, we had Mike weigh in on this.
Yeah.
Was who was it? You mention the name again?
Mike Watkins?
Mike Watkins, okay.
Yeah, he was actually instrumental. He was with Dwani at the time of the adoption of the, what is it, what do they call that?
And you?
Well, yeah, but the code that they wrote to.
Oh, the form-based code.
Form-based code, right. So he was involved in writing that with Dwani's
Mhm.
office, so.
Pace just did a seminar on that last year.
Oh, did he?
Pace did, yeah.
In this, this is really just what it is. It's just a sketch.
Right.
Since we haven't been in front of you folks yet, we haven't really put any effort in this. We're actually just now hiring.
You're in the sandbox.
What's that?
Yes.
You're in the sandbox.
Yep.
Well, to follow the last applicant, that was the wedding chapel. This is the honeymoon right now. So we'll see where things go from here.
So it looks like you're heading in the right, direction.
I hope so.
Spirit
I hope
of the
so.
thing. The only concern, it does back up very close to some of those neighbors on Dara
That's why
Place.
we're
Yeah, well, that's why we put that residential component between the commercial component and the residential.
Mhm. So setbacks and things.
And we're gonna have a community meeting with them, in probably the next 6 weeks or so. We're gonna pull it all together and get some input from all the people on Darrow and the surrounding area, just to get some good feedback early on.
I know Darrow's up on the hill there and stuff. I don't know if there's a way to get an access through so they could get to the traffic circle.
Well,
Because
that's
it's
a very
getting
good
difficult
point.
for them to get out on 44,
We're actually
I think.
looking into being able to provide access through here that would really only serve the community. We've talked about a possible key gated access. We've talked about just having an out only. They're always going to drive in there to come back out this way so that they can access the roundabout or the traffic light at the intersection down here with Victory Lane, because we're going to create a connection to Victory Lane through this parcel here.
It's very hard for the people on Darrow to come out and take a left.
Very hard is
Right,
an
right, that's
understatement.
what I was getting to, yeah.
Impossible to take a left out of that.
We have some plans drawn that are blown up in detail on how to get that connected, really only for them. Whatever, how many houses.
So you don't want through, yeah, you don't want people
Right,
driving
yeah,
through
they
their
don't want anybody
neighborhood.
going into their community, but it
Yeah, we
allows
don't
them
want
to gain
anybody
access to the controlled intersections that we have here.
Just a do not enter for, they can get out, but there's, I like the fact you have this, the building here as the terminus.
That's the terminus.
The terminus for the boulevard coming in that.
Yeah,
It's a good-
it was
good
it was
design
laid out
practice.
specifically to do that, do exactly that, so. And right now, we're talking with a medical office user that's interested in this site. Nobody's committed to it as of yet. This parcel here, we've actually had some interest from 2 national daycares that are interested in that site, which would work very well with all the residential that we're gonna have in here. Just to continue, the back portion of the property, here's the Wappinger Creek, is proposed to remain, as parkland. We've proposed some, walking trails through here. This, rec field may or may not be something that the town would want in this location, but we've shown it here. Pavilion, picnic areas, and certainly having a creek front trail here is pretty important. And you'll see actually in a couple of slides to come, what it looks like down in that area, and it's quite nice. In addition, outside the McDonald Heights property and project is a parcel that Joe and his partners own right here that we're proposing to actually create public parking for access to this recreation area.
Yeah, that would be great.
With a bike rack.
With a bike rack,
Of
yes.
course.
Let's see, move this
car
along
charger.
here.
Big end.
Some of the additional benefits of the project, we're proposing to acquire and expand the existing Poughkeepsie Business Park wastewater treatment facility. And the design of that facility is going to be such that it can be readily expanded to serve other areas within the town. So the potential, I know that there are some wastewater disposal issues in the immediate area. This may be the first step in terms of being able to address those by the town. Traffic control and interconnections and access to Route 44, we just discussed. And public open space and recreational amenities, you have access to the Wappinger Creek. We're proposing the walking trails and picnic areas, the public parking, the sports field, and a recreational pavilion. These are actual photos of the area down by the creek. And I think it really is beautiful down there, and I think it's going to be a tremendous amenity to the town of Poughkeepsie.
Interestingly, it doesn't flood on the west side. It only floods on the east side. So on our side, it actually,
That's good.
even in the biggest storms, it comes right up to the edge a couple times, but it's never been like flooded the area that we want to use for parkland.
Okay.
The other side gets in trouble because it's a lot lower.
I know LaGrange, CAC, they did a big project with a trail along the creek, I think. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
it's in that section or
It's,
not.
you can see these pictures here. It's absolutely beautiful down there.
There's a trail along the creek now. There's no public access to it, but there's a trail along the creek now that we're proposing to be able to open up to the public. And that's it for our presentation. No applause, thank you.
Big undertaking.
Is the barn building going to remain?
Unfortunately, I don't believe they're going to be able to remain. There is one building there that we're looking to possibly consider dismantling and reutilizing. It's in, the outside of the barn itself is in pretty good shape. The other barns, as a matter of fact, the old cow barn itself is actually experiencing some structural issues right now, so.
Yeah, the roof caved in years ago and the water's just been running in it.
So you're not gonna start a riding stable and?
No.
Thank you.
All right, one of the other primary reasons for our being here tonight is we submitted an application along with a letter asking the planning board to actually not just be the lead agency in the secret process, but actually conduct the environmental impact statement and prepare that on the board's behalf, since normally it's the applicant that actually prepares it, submits it to the planning board, and takes it from there, goes back and forth. We felt that it would be more prudent for the town to take that on, and I'm sure Eric will clarify that for you.
Yep, that's good.
Yeah, there's, the concept and discussion is SECR actually provides, the SECR law provides for the lead agency to actually prepare the environmental impact statement. And so we've been discussing mechanisms to do that. The next step in that process would be to retain a consultant, and the letter in your packet has been provided for that purpose. We can't actually go ahead with that until the planning board becomes the lead agency. And so you have a resolution in front of you to start that process by declaring your intent. Also, the retaining the consultant, the town board wants to retain control over, since it's contractual. The town board will be looking at a resolution for authorization along those lines. So there's a couple of things.
That means the town board is going to, on its own, determine who the consultant will be to prepare the EIS.
Actually, the resolution under consideration is that they want a recommendation on a consultant from the planning board. They'll be seeking your recommendation.
Okay.
But first, we have to get the RFP out there.
Okay.
You and I can do that.
We could do that. Yeah. Not the conflict. Okay, got it. But basically, it was a discussion, bring us up to speed. Any comments anybody wants to make, or, you know?
The only thing I said is, can you make that presentation available to put on the website or something, or just to the?
I don't see
know
why
what-
not.
Sure. Okay. It's on the website.
It's just a lot of content to go try to remember what was
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. I can.
The only thing
I
that
can
hit
email it
me
to Eric.
was the roundabout, which is a good idea. But there's a lot of traffic on 44, and the way it was depicted, it's pretty pristine. I don't know how you're gonna keep it looking, there's gonna be a lot of traffic that comes through that, right? And it's gonna be traffic calming, and it will slow the traffic down, and they work, so that's a very good thing. You know, it gets a lot of wear and tear, and I know it's a state highway too, the state has to either maintain it, or you're gonna have to work with the state to do that, but I just wanna make sure it
Actually, it's a
stays looking, the federal highway?
Yeah, it's US highway, US 44.
State.
Whatever. So,
Yeah, and I think the way that's gonna happen is we are going to get the state the money, and they're gonna build it. I think that's the way it's kind of planned today. That may change.
all right, so it becomes your expense.
Right.
Yeah, okay. No, that's
I mean,
fine.
I think DOT's new marching orders are, they want to look at an intersection, they try to see if a traffic circle, a roundabout will work first before they look at a signal these days.
Yeah, that's been the indication they've given us, and they would prefer to see that, change to a roundabout as
And
opposed to a signalized
like I said,
intersection.
they do work and they do slow the traffic down,
brutally
but they don't, but it
expensive
doesn't
when they
stop
work.
the traffic. So,
It would seem to me that, I don't know how it would work unless you also put another circle up there by De La Val. Because if you got a traffic light there, and that's gonna, because it's gonna back up from that traffic light into that circle for people going east or going west on 44.
All that'll, I guess,
Yeah,
come out in
has to be
the
looked at.
process of doing the traffic impact
That's gonna
study,
be an
so.
interesting nut to
Well,
crack.
again-
Traffic's gonna have to be really studied heavily.
Yeah, because it's.
I mean, we're only this far on a journey that may be that far, so.
Yeah.
we just-
Oh, no,
yeah,
that's right, yeah. No, we started talking to DOT about this like 8 years ago. So we had some good preliminary discussions, and then, when the economy fell apart, everything just stopped. So,
Do you have any thoughts on phasing it, or how long of a build-out period?
Well,
Looking at,
we think probably 5 to 7 years build out.
what,
It's not
The
that bad.
challenge is getting, quite frankly, getting commercial tenants.
yeah,
it's been our challenge since we have owned the property, so.
Yeah.
We
And
think
that-
some momentum will be created when the project gets initiated. There'll be a lot more interest in the section, you know, of town once the project's been started. It's difficult to envision for a lot of people, especially a business that just wants to come in and operate, to envision when they look at a field that, that's gonna be someplace they'll be able to operate in, so.
And certainly the prospect for some sewage disposal and whatever potentially down the road for people and residents is a good thing.
Have any thoughts on where the residents will be working? I mean, do you picture them locally, or do you picture them as commuters?
We own other apartments, you know, right, not too far away from this. You know,
Pleasant
within
Valley?
4 miles, 5 miles, and we surveyed that, and I would say about 85% are all local.
Really?
Local being like within a 15-mile, 20-mile radius.
I mean, ideally, you'll
A lot
get
of
some,
hospital employees we get, you know, at Brookside, you know, it's, and then you get some from like Westchester area or work in Westchester or Danbury or something.
Right.
Very few actually that commute to the city.
Right.
Like,
There are several.
Literally out of 300, I think we have like 6.
Yeah,
How
there are
about
several that,
retiree population out there in Pleasant Valley?
I'm sorry?
Retiree population out in Pleasant Valley?
In that project,
Yeah.
we have, absolutely have some.
we actually have statistics on the percentage of active adults in that project that I can probably make available to the town.
I was saying, ideally, you know, you get some, you know, you get the office space on the second floor and the retail. Ideally, you get to living in that project that will actually work in that project.
Right, and that's kind of part of what we had envisioned here, you know, where somebody might own a small shop downstairs and actually themselves or their employees would live above the shop.
To be seen. Okay.
The beautiful thing about this zone is it allows that 0 lot line, so it allow someone to actually, they have a desire, instead of renting, they can actually buy a store and have the vertical above it. So they can have, you know, a 2-story residential unit or whatever over their business. So they don't have to be a tenant. Which, that's the beauty of this town center zone. It allows that to happen, because when we developed Arlington Square, you know, where CVS and the liquor store and all this years ago, we had a lot of people that were interested, but they didn't want to rent. They wanted to own, and that zoning didn't really allow that. But here, this zoning allows that.
That's interesting. Different concept.
It's a great thing to pull off. I think John Clark is on the record saying the last town center built in Dutchess County was around 1850 or something. So there's nothing like, you know, a Rhinebeck or a Millbrook and nothing with these type of units.
All right, so
In recent years.
I'm sure you'll be back a few dozen times. I move that determine that the proposed activity is a type 1 action pursuant to 6 NYCRR 617.4 sub B sub 6 of the secret regulations, and declare its intent to be the lead agency to coordinate the environmental review of the proposed project, and authorize the planning department circulate a notice of said intent, a copy of the EAF, and a copy of the application to the identified involved agencies.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I move that if and when the planning board is established as lead agency and for a coordinated secret review of this application as a type 1 action, and upon the assumption that the board will determine that an EIS will be prepared, the board agrees that it will honor the applicant's request and will undertake preparation of an EIS in accordance with section 617.9 sub A sub 1 and 617.13 of the secret regulations.
Second.
Moved and seconded, call the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. And I move the planning board defer further action on this application pending establishment of a lead agency and submittal of an additional application information necessary to issue the determination of significance and a potential scoping document.
Second.
Moved and seconded, call the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. That's
Got started.
a small step, but it's a step.
Thank you very much. Got to start somewhere.
It's only been 10 years. I'm glad we're finally here in front of you. Thank you.
Okay, Foam and Wash, 1942 South Road, site plan amendment to add 7 new vacuum stations with 6-foot wide concrete walk and 2 vending stations. 1942 South Road, Zone BH, highway business, 2.2 acre, 27 acres, type 2 action, TGS Associates Inc. Sure.
Owner.
I'll have to wing it, though. I don't know what to do.
I'm getting tired.
Yeah.
Quickly hungry.
Yes, ma'am. It's done.
We're starting to creep up on it.
Okay, so let's just cut to the chase here. It's been a long night.
It's been a long night. J.D. Singh, Maury Architects. This is probably the most complex project in front of the board tonight, so try to pay attention, okay? Foam and Wash, car wash across from the Galleria on South Road. The north end of the site is where the cars that exit the car wash use the vacuums and the vending station for different products. The existing canister vacuums are going to be removed. The vending station that's in the middle of the parking area is going to be removed, and there'll be 7 parking spots with a new modern style vacuum that is being installed at most of the facilities now. I do have some pictures of that.
Get out of town.
Get out of town. So these have been installed in Wappingers and in Newburgh at the Foam and Wash. So you get one of these stanchions on each side of your car, and then it's really convenient for vacuuming your car from each side. You don't have to drag the hose around, and then the hose is stored back into the stanchion, so you don't get the people that leave the hose on the ground.
So these are free too, right?
They're free. Almost. We waited all night to give it away.
As well you should.
Those hoses pull back in or something?
The red one's a hot vacuum and the blue one's a cold
I think
vacuum?
it's the size of the nozzle.
Different size of car, different pressures.
Suctions.
So
Okay,
other
looks
than
good to me.
that, we're adding a sidewalk behind for people to access it, and that's pretty much the extent of this application.
You got a vending machine now with the towels and all of that stuff? still?
There's 2 smaller vendors that'll be out on the sidewalk. That was part of the reason for adding the sidewalk. They'll be out of the parking area now. Right now, that vendor's out in the middle of the parking area.
I mean, when I come out of the car wash, there's often all the slots are filled, so it's.
This is going to make room for more
Another one.
slots.
It will. There'll be 7 spaces there.
The parking lot's along the north side,
It's on the north side, yes.
so that you got the vacuums and you got the not the parking lot, you got the sidewalk, and then beyond that's the diner.
That's correct.
Does that help? Okay, looks good to me. Anybody got any questions?
So essentially, I could go get lunch at the diner while my wife vacuums my car.
Right. Hey, actually,
That's the way you should do it.
You can work that out.
considering what they're installing, I kind of thought this one sucked myself, but it's a vacuum cleaner. Okay, fine. I move the planning board determine that the proposed activity is a type 2 action and is not subject to secret review pursuant to 6 NYCRR 617.5 sub C sub 7 of secret regulations.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Call a question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Move the planning board waive the site plan public hearing for this project in accordance with Town Code Sections 210-151D.
Second.
It's been seconded. Call a question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. I move the planning board grant conditional site plan approval for the Foam and Wash site plan amendment subject to the following. 1A, and there's a few little things here to take care of that the staff will take care of. So it's 1 through 5, basically.
Second.
Okay, it's been seconded. Call a question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
He's gonna
You say
do,
you're going back to the free towels too?
No, they have those green towels, they wash them.
The green ones.
They wash them now. You can hand it back, or give
You pay for it, you
fresh
give it back to the guy, he gives you a clean one.
Gary hand dries every car now.
John, you don't want
Thanks, guys.
samples from the dust bag?
Okay, Poughkeepsie Plaza, facade renovation, architectural review for exterior renovation of the south facade over the Modell's and Pastry Garden store, which, okay, fine.
J.D. Singh again, Maury Architects, Poughkeepsie Plaza. We were here about 2 years ago. I think we did a facade review for the old Blockbuster building, which was renovated, and Sleepy's is there now.
Yes.
So that style facade is going to be extended down the south-facing side of the whole north wing of the building, across Modell's, across the Asia Buffet, Phoenix Salon Suites, and down towards the Pastry Garden. So it's going to be a similar type construction with a beige ephes on the upper portions of the building. The masonry columns are going to be clad with a ground face block. There'll be a couple metal roof accents and a gunmetal gray that's similar to what's over the rest of the plaza that heads south from that corner.
Right, okay.
So you're going to turn the corner and go all the way down the other end to Marshall's?
Not yet.
But eventually?
Possibly.
So that brick,
So if we don't approve this and say you have to do the whole thing, then what?
If you don't approve this, then we're never going to do anything else.
if those brick columns, you're gonna try to
tried.
match what they did at Sleepy's, or?
The brick, all the colors, it's going to be identical to what Sleepy's is.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, same materials.
But never say never.
I move we accept architecture as presented,
With the materials he's got up on the board there.
with materials on the board.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Jay, are those, on the front of the columns, you're gonna keep, are those no parking signs?
Yes. Yes, that was one of the comments. Those will be the no parking signs, no lights.
No lights?
Nope.
South Road Square. Okay, you're up. What happened to Bugaboo?
Sure. What happened to Bugaboo? Bugaboo closed everywhere, wherever they had, the company went out of
I was
business.
gonna say, did they all close?
They all closed.
Oh, okay, didn't know
They
that.
try to switch it over to a steakhouse or something, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that?
They try to, change the menu thing and switch it over to just a steakhouse?
But what happened was they sold the company to a bunch of
Butcher.
basically investment bankers who didn't know anything about the restaurant business, and they ran it into the ground, and the company went down, and they closed all their locations.
God, I hate when that.
Ouch.
You tell them my grandkids are mad at him.
Yeah, my grandkids like that place.
We weren't too thrilled about it either.
I'm sure.
Well, they're still paying rent, I hope.
What's that?
Their lease up?
Oh, they stopped paying rent many months ago, which is one of the reasons we're very anxious to get a new facade on our shopping center.
But this,
Okay, so let's see, what do you got?
Good evening. I'm John Sullivan, M. Gillespie and Associates. We're here for South Road Square facade renovation. I guess I'll.
Take that with you?
Yeah. This drawing here represents the upper elevation is the existing facade as it exists today.
So for clarification, it does not include Bugaboo?
This does not include Bugaboo.
Okay.
Reason being?
that's,
Well, actually, we will probably want to, what we're doing here, we're going to want to extend through Bugaboo, actually, just to clarify. We will want to, we are working with,
You can just turn it on.
sorry, guys.
Or the
I got
And if you could just introduce yourself?
Yeah,
Got Bugaboo.
or the other.
sorry, guys.
So the last guy said they wouldn't do the whole thing, so that's.
It takes, turn it on and then wait 3 seconds.
Hello,
There you go.
I'm Jim Kempner, I'm the owner of the shopping center. We are working with a potential restaurant user now that will want us to, with the same materials we're using on the rest, we will be using on the rest of the side, we'll just extend right over onto the.
So what we approve
portion.
tonight will be the entire length of the.
That is correct.
Okay, good.
Because the drawings only showed that.
I think the idea, the reason why we didn't include that was because they're actually waiting for a potential client, which they haven't, or a potential tenant for that space.
Oh,
So until that happens, then we'll, I guess, before, be here again.
Well, no, we're gonna approve the whole thing.
Yeah, it'd be best to approve
Now, if you
the
need to
whole
come
thing.
in to change it because the tenant requires something a little different, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Right, good, that's fine.
I guess that's the issue.
But in terms of what we're showing here tonight, this does not, include the Bugaboo portion or the former.
So it's not on this map, you're saying?
Yeah, it's not on these elevations.
So you'll also give us a new elevation that does include it. That's what he just said.
Okay.
If that's a condition of the approval, that's fine.
Yeah.
But for the time being, though, we're looking for an approval so we can construct this portion of the building. We'd like to get going as soon as possible.
Why don't you just label it Phase 1, Phase 2?
Sounds great.
That's fine.
And just send up.
That way, you don't, for Phase 2, you don't have to come back as long as there's no changes. You can give it to us with the same design going forwards, with Phase 1, Phase 2. Whenever you're ready to do Phase 2, you do it. If it changes, then you come back.
That's
fine.
But there will be some limitation, it has to get done at some point.
Yeah.
It's gonna get done. I mean, we think it's gonna get done pretty much at the same time we do phase one. We're gonna think, our plans do it all at once.
So just put a timeline on it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
So all this, what's that material?
So basically, what we're looking to do is the only upper portion of the building that we're looking
Right.
to modify. The lower portion is the existing split-face block, block, that'll remain. And the upper portion will be all ephes. I have some samples here. The colors are, there's two different colors. It's called Cloud, which is a Stowe color, and the other one is Putty color. And I have samples of the finish. This here, it's a medium texture. It's standard stuff. I'm sure you've seen it before, so.
And that goes on which part? Because that, obviously, the rent.
It's the entire upper portion of the building. And then just to, also one other thing, where the split-face columns exist, we're gonna do these sort of, these upper pillars to break the facade. Because as it is now, it's just kind of bland.
Those upper pillars are the same material though, or different?
It's all ephes and the colors are inverted from the main facade, where the signage would
Show the
occur.
two colors again there?
That works. Those are the two.
No, I mean,
Right here.
sample.
The samples.
So what
Yeah,
are the two
I'm sorry,
colors? I only
right
saw
here.
one.
There's a little,
Just that little tiny square on top, a
Okay.
little bit lighter.
It's gonna be a hell of a lot better than what we got. Make sure that. Indicated some time limits and brackets.
They're fairly close. I think this one's gonna be a little bit.
So this is gonna wind up basically looking just like across the street.
It's gonna look like across the street, most of the other shopping centers. Yes, that's what's gonna look.
Unfortunately, I was hoping for a little
It's gonna,
creativity.
We got mine.
It's the new model. What about on the base, any kind of brickwork or anything, or just,
Well, it's at least clean and
The split-face block is.
what is it called?
Existing split-face block will
Okay,
remain.
just gonna leave that
No
there.
change.
Yep.
Does that need to be cleaned or washed or sandblasted or anything?
It's in very good condition.
Good condition.
Yeah, I think.
Nobody's looking to change their
And
signs.
the AutoZone's gonna put up signs, no repairs in the parking lot?
That's at River Point. That's gonna be a River Point, John.
River Point?
Yeah, no repairs in the parking lot.
Yeah, River Point, right, all the seniors. Okay, I got no problem.
All right.
Anybody? I move that we accept the architecture as presented.
Subject to the revised.
Subject to Phase 1, Phase 2, the revised drawings, and we'll put some time brackets on when the stuff has to be completed by and so on.
Yeah, we're gonna as soon as the weather turns,
No, he'll
we're
work with
anxious
you
to
on
get
that.
going. We're
Okay,
anxious to
and
get going.
if your tenant comes in while you're working on that the right end of the building, and you need to come back for a change for the left end where Bugaboo was, we can. work
So just so I understand, is if the restaurant tenant wants us just to continue this, we don't have to come back before the planning board to do
Correct.
that. We can just that's essentially approved.
Yes.
If we change it, then we'd have to come back.
Correct.
Understood. Great, thank you.
And then you'll have to have John follow up, because we don't have those drawings yet.
So either way, we're gonna have to show.
Well, he's just gonna need to revise what you've given us.
Yep,
To include the Bugaboo building.
Include the Bugaboo portion of the building.
right.
And before you can pull a building permit to start work. So have him do.
For the Bugaboo portion.
No, for this, for whatever you want to do here. So it's just amend this plan to show the Bugaboo portion.
Yep.
Give it to me next week if you
Yep.
can, in the next week or two.
Yep.
And then you'll be,
And then we're good to pull a permit.
then you're good to go.
Great. Sounds good?
Okay, thank you.
very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, other business, Stratford Farms Townhouses, time extension of a final major subdivision approval. Stratford Farms, remember that? Was it going back, 20 years or something?
Yeah.
And the site plan approval for 26 individual townhouse lots, a common area lot and site improvements on a 6.83 acre parent parcel within previously approved 185 lot subdivision, Stratford Drive, zoned R4A resident, single family, 4 acre, 6.83 acres. Secret negative declaration is on file. ABD Stratford is the owner. I move the planning board grant 2 90-day time extensions of site plan approval and a final major subdivision approval from February 13th, 16 forward to August 11th, 2016. I had a tongue tied. February 13th, 16 forward to August 11th, 16. I moved it second. Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Stratford Farms Water Booster Station, time extension for an approved site plan of a 293 square foot single-story water pressure booster station, Lot 11, Stratford Drive, zoned R4A resident, single family, 4 acre, 1.896 acres. ABD Stratford LLC owner. I move that we grant a 12-month time extension from February 15th, 2016 forward to February 15th, 2017.
Second again.
Seconded, call a question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Rosewood subdivision time extension for an approved four-lot residential subdivision with connection to municipal sanitary and water line, Sunset Avenue and Sunset Avenue Extension, zoned R20, residence 20,000 square feet, 4.69 acres. Secret negative declaration adopted September 17th, 2015, Darrow Corp. And Rosewood LLC owners.
Does this one really give him enough time to do it?
What he needs to do is revise the maps. So I can't tell, he's not here to tell us how
just
long
the
he
maps.
needs to do it, and he requested a
Can we give them 2?
time extension. The law provides for 290 days, so that's what I put down.
Okay, so I move that we grant 2 90-day time extensions of conditional final major subdivision approval from March 15th forward to September 11th, 2016.
Second.
Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Second, call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We're adjourned.